This guy used up every last drop of his lifetime luck to win the lottery jackpot, only to immediately find out he was terminally ill and about to kick the absolute bucket. He desperately pleaded, "Please, just let me live." And guess what? Isaac actually got reincarnated, but in the body of a bald-headed skeleton. But through his own sheer grit, even though he started as a mere skeleton, the lowest tier of summoned monsters, Isaac eventually evolved into the king of the undead, the absolute ruler of death. For hundreds of years, Isaac rebuilt the demon race from the ashes. But he did not do it for fame or glory. It was all because of a sacred pact he made with the world. You see, if Isaac completed his quest, he would finally get to be human again. And today was the day he finally finished that mission. Leaving his loyal minions behind in the fantasy world, Isaac journeyed to the heavenly realm all by himself to meet the gods. "I have fulfilled every single one of your demands. I hope you haven't forgotten your promise to turn me back into a human." But reality is a total joke. Instead of keeping their promise to make him human, those scumbag gods decided to seal this skeleton guy inside a bookworm forever. Sometime later, in another place. Ah, my head hurts so bad. Well, at least I am conscious again. How did I let those gods play me like that? Is it because I was a brainless, hollow-headed skeleton? Once his mind cleared up, Isaac realized he was trapped inside the body of a baby. Is this a human body? Am I human again? No way those greedy bastards suddenly had a change of heart. Did something go wrong with the seal? While Isaac was lost in thought, a voice suddenly piped up. "Oh, the Holy Sun." The maid smiled and said, "The Holy Sun has opened his eyes." "Holy what now?" While he was totally dazed, the maid continued, "He was sleeping so peacefully, but now he is wide awake." "Yeah, it would have been much better if he had just stayed asleep," the male servant replied, gently shaking the baby bottle in his hand. "Who are these people? Am I really human now?" "Well, we have no choice, though I do feel a bit guilty," the maid said with a smile that did not match her words at all. "But hey, a job is a job. We are truly sorry, Holy Sun. We know you just woke up, but we have to put you right back to sleep. Have a good rest, Holy Sun." Isaac stared at the male servant, slowly bringing the highly suspicious baby bottle toward him, thinking to himself, "I literally just died once, and now I am about to kick the bucket again?" Realizing the danger, Isaac squirmed and thrashed, absolutely refusing to drink from the bottle, which made the male servant grow increasingly anxious. Why won't he drink? Isaac whipped his head away, thinking, "In your dreams, I went through hell to become human again. There is no way I am falling for such an obvious trap. For now, I need to figure out the reason behind how I ended up as a human. Be a good baby and drink up so you can rest in peace. I mean, have a nice, peaceful sleep, Master Isaac." Hearing the name Isaac made him freeze. Did that guy just call me Isaac? Everything was starting to make sense. Isaac remembered how the demons used to mistakenly call him King Isaac. Perhaps that was why the long-haired god of calamity carved the name Isaac instead of his real name onto the bookworm, which ended up sparing him from being sealed. On top of that, he was reincarnated into a body that shared the exact same name. Those gods were acting so smug, but they were way too careless and let me slip right through their seal. Thinking about this, Isaac, who was now a baby, burst into a wide, triumphant laugh, which inadvertently gave the male servant the perfect chance to shove the bottle right into his mouth. Isaac immediately used all his strength to push the bottle out of his mouth. The male servant used all his strength to hold the bottle in place, preventing it from slipping out of Isaac's mouth, while shouting to the maid next to him, "Give me a hand here. Why is this baby so freakishly strong?" The maid immediately rushed over to help him hold the bottle steady, causing the liquid to pour continuously down Isaac's throat. "Is this vegetable juice? It tastes absolutely hideous. Are they trying to kill me with this disgusting drink? I just became human, but a bizarre sensation is surging violently inside my body." Meanwhile, at the central cathedral of the Holy Empire of Hela, by now, that brat should be taken care of, right? As Bishop Masabaris smirked to himself, a majestic voice suddenly boomed. "You seem to be in a good mood." Bishop Masabaris looked up to see Alexander von Hela, the Emperor of the Holy Empire of Hela, and quickly bowed respectfully, saying, "Greetings, Your Majesty, the son of our Holy Empire." "Bishop, what brings you here?" Alexander asked warily. "I came to meet the candidate for the Holy Son from the Joshua family. Whenever it involves the Holy Son, our Holy Church cannot simply stand by and watch." Masabaris replied with a smile. Alexander looked at him with a knowing gaze. "I see. Since it concerns the Holy Son, you decided to show up in person, huh? but it would be a real shame if another unfortunate accident were to happen to the Holy Church's candidate. Haha, what do you mean by that, Your Majesty? Before Masabaris could even finish his sentence, a blood-curdling scream echoed from the Holy Son's room, instantly catching everyone's attention. Young Master, he is. Hearing the panicked voice of the maid, Martha Barrett smirked, then followed the Emperor as he rushed toward the Holy Son's room. Holy Son, what happened? The Emperor demanded, slamming the door open. The maid replied, Young Master, he's just too cute. The tense atmosphere immediately dissolved into pure joy. Look at that round, chubby belly. He's so adorable. He has such a great appetite. Is he the legendary little angel? Look, he actually finished 15 bottles of that awful vegetable juice. While everyone was gossiping, Martha Barrett gritted his teeth and thought, no way. How is he still alive? He drank that much. And nothing happened to him? It wasn't normal vegetable juice. Rewinding back to a few minutes ago, a strange sensation was surging wildly inside my body. Am I going to die for nothing again? Wait, what is this? Ah, it's a lethal poison for priests, designed to destroy their holy power. It doesn't take effect immediately, but if you ingest enough of it, it's absolutely fatal. But this poison is crafted from demon mana. For someone like me, a former demon king, this is pure gold. I can't believe they're practically handing me such a wonderful gift. I absolutely love this. I won't let this highly nutritious meal go to waste. So instead of avoiding it, Isaac eagerly grabbed the bottle and chugged it down. He even threw a cute little tantrum for more after finishing it, leaving the two servants utterly baffled. Wait, is he asking for seconds? I think I can actually understand what he's saying. The more he eats, the happier we are. Poison? No, I mean there's no way this veggie juice could hurt him, the male servant said, happily handing another bottle to Isaac. Oh, this is spectacular. Absorbing mana is truly the best. I have no idea who poisoned this, but whoever they are, they're absolute legends. All right, time to plan my next move. With that thought, Isaac closed his eyes. I will leave the conscious realm to enter my subconscious. By reaching the deepest, primal realm, I can forge a mana core. I'll be safe here. Now, let's get to work. I'll condense all the absorbed mana into a single core. I need a mana core to cast spells, so if I want to use magic in the future, this is a must. Suddenly, the mana core in his hand began to glow, startling him. He thought it was a mana explosion, but it wasn't. A mana core usually manifests in one of three primary colors, but this is pure white. No, the color isn't even the main issue. I haven't even gathered enough mana for a tiny core yet. So where on earth is this colossal amount of energy coming from? This is way beyond what I expected. Just how many blessings have been bestowed upon this fragile little body? At this rate, I'm going to become a monster, far more powerful than I ever imagined. Survival. A fierce, unyielding will to survive has been deeply engraved into this soul, an almost desperate, maddening desire to live. It was the very source of the skeletal demon king's power, allowing him to forge countless unique buffs and skills. And now, I have inherited that entire legacy inside this very body. While Isaac was forging his mana core in his subconscious, the two servants outside watched his motionless body. Wait, did he actually kick the bucket this time? Let's check. Just as the maid finished speaking, Isaac suddenly held up one finger, demanding another bottle. The servants could only cry in sheer disbelief. How was he still alive? Back to the present, Alexander Heathcliff breathed a sigh of relief upon learning that Isaac was perfectly fine. So it was just a false alarm. Yeah, other than the fact that I almost got assassinated, nothing to worry about at all. Isaac thought to himself. Then, tilting his head, he noticed the strange expression on Martha Barrett's face. What's this? What's with that look he's giving me? Is he annoyed because I'm eating too much? No, this is bad. If he gets suspicious, it'll be a huge pain. I need to play dumb. Time to put on an innocent smile. Putting his plan into action, Isaac flashed the most adorable smile he could muster at Martha Barrett. But this only made the man's expression grow even darker. What is wrong with this kid? That much poison should have had him coughing up blood and gasping for his final breath. Yet he still has the strength to mock me? A few days ago, at the headquarters of the Cardinal Church, Hirai Barit, the head of the Barit family, poured himself a glass of deep crimson liquid and spoke. Once you become the Holy Son, you will control the entire Holy Empire. It's ridiculous, really. Yet everywhere I look, people are confidently claiming that their child is the Holy Son. Even the lowly servants are doing it. Behind him, Martha Barit placed a hand over his chest and bowed respectfully. Please put your mind at ease, my lord. We will make sure to take excellent care of the Holy Son candidates. Hire Barrett let out a soft chuckle. Yes, of course. However, I have heard some troubling rumors about a candidate coming from the Julius family. The very family, known as the Emperor's right-hand man. Sensing the subtle shift in Hire Barrett's tone, Martha Barrett broke out in a cold sweat. If it's them, then we cannot. Before he could finish, Hire Barrett threw the glass of crimson liquid onto the carpet near his feet and said, "By the time you get there, that child should already be dead. All you need to do is confirm that truth. I'll take care of the rest. The saint absolutely has to come from the Barris family." Back to the present, Masa Barris saw Isaac drinking that much poison and still lying there grinning from ear to ear. Gritting his teeth, he thought, wasn't this brat supposed to be dead by now? How is he still alive? This is impossible. At the same time, Alexander Heathcliff walked over to the crib. He looked down at Isaac and smiled, saying, "How fascinating. This shining platinum hair. Isn't this the exact same hair color as the founder of the Holy Kingdom? Am I right, Bishop?" Masa Barris panicked and quickly said, "Your Majesty, you shouldn't say things like that." Isaac looked at Alexander Heathcliff in surprise, thinking, "So this guy is the Emperor?" Meanwhile, Alexander looked over at Masa Barris and smirked, "And why not? I'd even go as far as to say this child is closer to God than the current Pope himself. He truly deserves to be the final candidate for the saint position." Hearing this, Isaac gasped in his mind. "What? I'm actually a candidate to be the saint? Now I get why they kept talking about holy this and holy that." As for Masa Barris, he was growing incredibly anxious. "This is bad. The Emperor is starting to favor this brat. I can't let this go on." With that thought, Masa Barris forced a smile, stepped forward, and asked, "Your Majesty, would you mind if I ran a quick check on the child?" Alexander Heathcliff raised an eyebrow suspiciously. "Huh? And why is that?" Masa Barris explained, "This isn't normal. There's no way a newborn baby could digest all that raw vegetable juice." Alexander Heathcliff asked, "Are you saying a saint candidate isn't allowed to eat priest food?" Isaac thought to himself, "A demon king like me becoming a saint candidate. How ironic." Masa Barris insisted, "Just to be safe, please allow me to examine him, Your Majesty." Alexander Heathcliff replied, "The Eshua family is on their way. Let's wait until they get here and we'll deal with it then." Your Majesty Masa wanted to argue further, but stopped dead in his tracks when he saw Isaac burp out a tiny puff of demonic energy. Isaac realized what he had done and instantly covered his mouth. That demonic energy wasn't fully digested yet. Did he see me? Filled with anxiety, Isaac glanced at Masa Barris, only to find the man staring right back at him. After a few seconds, a grin crept onto Masa Barris's face. "Your Majesty, I just felt a very suspicious energy coming from this child." "Oh my, it's highly suspicious." Isaac panicked. "Did this bastard actually figure it out?" Masa Barris continued. "This child might be an imposter who possesses dark magic. We must report this to the Heresy Inquisitors immediately." Hearing this, Isaac knew for sure the old man had caught his slip-up. He cursed inwardly, "Damn it!" As for Alexander Heathcliff, hearing Masa Barris's words made him snap. He roared, "How dare you? How dare you say that about a precious saint candidate?" Masa Barris just smiled calmly and said, "Your Majesty, please calm down. The Pope has already declared that a child of the Barris family is the true saint candidate." Alexander Heathcliff was taken aback, thinking, "So he wants to push his own flesh and blood into the saint position? What a shameless bastard." Isaac gritted his teeth in anger, "So that's why. He wants to get rid of me to clear the path." Just then, Masa Barris scooped Isaac up and yelled, "Guards, bring the Heresy Inquisitors here at once." Isaac cursed under his breath, "You bastard." Just as panic started to set in, he heard Alexander Heathcliff call out, "Hold on. The Eshua family is one of the royal family's most loyal allies. Therefore, as your emperor, I command you to postpone the examination of this child." Masa Barris replied, "I understand, Your Majesty, but the Pope has made it clear that the Crown Prince's coronation ceremony will only take place once the saint has been chosen." Hearing this, Alexander Heathcliff's expression darkened. He thought, "So if I don't back the Pope's candidate for the saint position, they have no intention of holding the Crown Prince's coronation?" Noticing Alexander Heathcliff's grim expression, Isaac thought worriedly, "These cheap scumbags. This is bad." Masa Barris saw this as well and smirked with absolute confidence. "If Your Majesty doesn't want to hand him over to the Holy See, we can settle this right now. With my exorcism spell, if this child is normal, he will be perfectly fine. But if he's a demon, he will die. Just as the last word left Masaberis's mouth, Isaac slammed a baby bottle right into his face, making him spit out a mouthful of blood. Watching one of the man's teeth fly out, Isaac gloated. "Take that, you liar. Have some more. After all, I'm just an innocent, helpless baby." To play the part, he flashed the most adorable baby smile, but Masaberis didn't find it cute at all. Clutching his jaw in pain, he thought, what the hell was that? The bottle and that impact. Meanwhile, the onlookers gasped. That child must indeed be the saint. Masaberis stared intently at Isaac in his arms. I can definitely feel holy power inside him. But what was that strength just now? Before he could finish his thought, he was hit with a few more heavy blows. As he swung, Isaac cheered in his mind. That's what you get for messing with the Demon King. After taking a few more hits, a sudden realization struck Masaberis. Could this be demonic magic? The others noticed it too, especially Alexander Hupf. A joyful smile spread across his face as he watched the golden light bursting forth with every single blow Isaac landed. Isaac just kept on pounding, thinking to himself, I'll just cast a fortification spell to make this baby bottle tougher. After that, I'll go right back to playing the role of a harmless, adorable little baby, and I'm golden. Right then, the crowd saw Masaberis drop to one knee and gasped, saying, The bishop has been moved by the holy power. Isaac smirked at Masaberis, thinking, Well, did it really take you this long to notice the golden light on my bottle? Wait, what is this? It's faint, but every time I channel my mana, a tiny spark of holy power manifests. These two forces should complement each other, but they're clashing, making them impossible to use at the same time. This has to be connected to that white mana core. Lost in thought, Isaac suddenly felt Masaberis yank the bottle from his hands and toss it aside. Then, he glared at Isaac before spinning around to face Alexander Hupf. He declared, I swear to the heavens, this brat is a heretic. We must perform an exorcism immediately. Isaac let out a sigh, thinking, what an absolute scumbag. While the bishop was busy ranting and ignoring him, Isaac slipped his hand right into the man's inner coat pocket. You forced my hand. It's not like I wanted to do this. But hey, aren't you carrying a rather fascinating toy in here? It was a vessel sealing the remains of a high-ranking demon. This totem utilized a demonic trait, which was absorbing mana by consuming the corpses of its own kind. This guy had kept it hidden away to avoid being tracked down by other demons. With those thoughts, Isaac pulled a severed hand out of Masaberis's pocket. It was tightly wrapped in bandages, bound by a holy cross, and oozing a thick, ominous demonic energy. Masaberis froze in absolute terror. How could a mere infant possibly know about this? But before he could even process the thought, something far more horrifying occurred. Isaac casually tossed the totem onto the floor and snapped his tiny fingers. He thought, watch your back, you piece of garbage. Since you insisted on targeting me, I'll return the favor and open your eyes a bit. Let's see you try to beat this, you fraud. With Isaac's snap, the totem sprang to life. The bandages slowly unraveled, and in an instant, a massive wave of demonic energy erupted from the severed arm. Feeling the overwhelming pressure of the demonic energy, everyone in the room tensed up and stared at the arm. Someone cried out in disbelief, a demon! Keeping his guard up against the newly awakened entity, Alexander whipped around and roared at Masa. Why is a demon's soul manifesting here? Bishop Masaberis, explain yourself. Have you completely lost your mind, carrying a demon on your person? Masa stammered in protest. Can't you see? That child is the one who pulled the totem out. Alexander pointed a demanding finger at him. A totem is meant to seal a dead demon. How could a dead demon suddenly come back to life on its own? Then, he barked an order to the holy knights. Guards, protect the holy son from the demon and arrest the bishop. Yes, sir. The holy knights let out a battle cry, drew their swords, and lunged at the demon. One of them rushed forward, scooping Isaac up and away from the bishop's grasp. Masa stood there completely frozen, trembling as he mumbled, But how? Why? Snug in the arms of the holy knight, Isaac looked back at Masa with a smug grin, thinking, serves you right. He wanted to use this fight with the demon to gauge just how strong the bishop actually was. But as he glanced back at the demon's soul, he realized it was staring right at him, screeching, the holy son, kill the holy son. A massive question mark popped up in Isaac's mind. Wait, what? The answer was instantly clear. The demon's target was him. Kill the holy son. Screaming once more, the entity charged straight at him. Seeing this, the holy knights jumped in front to form a defensive wall, shouting, "Protect the young master." Isaac was utterly baffled. What is wrong with this idiot? I'm the one who brought it back to life, and it's coming after me? But he quickly shrugged it off. Whatever. With the holy knights shielding me, I'm perfectly safe. No sooner had that thought crossed his mind than he watched one of the holy knights get blasted backward by the demon's force. Isaac stared blankly at the knight groaning on the floor, thinking, are these guys seriously elite holy knights? Meanwhile, the demon easily swatted away the remaining knights in its path. Extending its dark claws toward Isaac, it howled, "Destroy the holy sun, set the demon king free." The knight holding him trembled in absolute terror as the demon closed the distance, clutching the baby even tighter in panic. Isaac's expression remained completely blank. Great. Looks like I'll have to take care of this thing myself. Why is everyone in this lifetime trying to kill me? Looking up, Isaac stared calmly at the razor-sharp claws just inches from his face. I'm the one who set you free, and this is how you repay me? You impudent little imp. Gritting his teeth, a flicker of dark mana flashed through Isaac's eyes as he glared at the specter. Instantly, the demon froze dead in its tracks. Because through its eyes, it was no longer looking at a newborn holy sun, but at the terrifying, overwhelming majesty of the skeletal demon king. Looking down with absolute majesty, it stared at him like he was nothing but a measly insect. A second later, a divine golden light suddenly burst from Isaac, illuminating the entire room. The demon soul, in particular, was completely engulfed by this brilliant glow. The demon soul let out agonizing shrieks of terror. Taking advantage of everyone's distraction as they stared at Isaac in awe, the spirit slipped out the door as fast as the wind. Spotting this, a holy knight cried out, The demon is trying to escape," but no one even reacted. Their eyes were glued to Isaac, who was practically radiating divine golden light. Holy power? That's definitely holy power, right? Lord Isaac defeated a high-ranking demon. This is incredible. To do that at his age, he truly is our young master. Meanwhile, Isaac stared at his hands, lost in thought as wisps of golden light drifted from his fingers. What is this? Is it really holy power? What the hell is going on? My mana is completely drained. I can't believe it. Is this bizarre body of mine converting my mana into holy power? Wait, if that's the case, how am I supposed to gather mana now? Mana in this holy empire is already scarce enough. Right then, the holy knights pinned Masa down. Even so, he struggled violently and shrieked, "Let me go, you fools! That brat is a heretic who uses demon mana. How dare these filthy demons step foot into our holy empire? Your Majesty, please let me prove it. I will use an exorcism spell to expose his true colors to everyone." But Alexander bellowed, "Enough, Bishop. You dare falsely accuse an innocent holy son candidate of heresy? You even unleashed a high-ranking demon right in front of the holy knights. Even if you are one of the Pope's men, don't think I will let this slide so easily." Hearing this, Masa's face darkened. He knew exactly how gruesome his fate would be. The seeds of doubt have already been sown. Sooner or later, the spies planted here will be caught. If that happens, it will be a devastating blow to the Pope's influence. Even if it costs me my life, I have to find a way to save my family. If that is how it is, I must at least take this holy son candidate down with me. Gritting his teeth, Masa stealthily drew a magic circle behind his back. The moment the spell was complete, a lion-like beast materialized and lunged straight at Isaac. "Showing your true colors at last, are you? Does he seriously think he can take me out with such a pathetic attack?" Isaac thought. Just as he was about to unleash his mana to obliterate the beast, he remembered he was completely out of magic. As the beast lunged closer, a sudden blast of magic soared in from the doorway, vaporizing the monster in the blink of an eye. Immediately after, a young man stepped into the room with his entourage and demanded, "Who dares lay a finger on a child of the Joshua family?" The newcomer was none other than the seventh son of the Joshua family, Rai J. Joshua. The holy knights in the room gasped upon seeing him. "It's the Blue Saint! Joshua's knights are here!" Pointing at the kneeling Masa, Rai ordered, "Arrest this bishop immediately." "Yes, sir," the knights behind Rai bellowed, immediately jumping into action. Masa struggled frantically, screaming, "Let me go, you dogs of Joshua! How dare you lay your filthy hands on me?" Meanwhile, Isaac stroked his chin like a little old man, deep in thought. "Wait, Joshua, I feel like I've heard that name somewhere before." As he racked his brain, Rai spoke up again. "Show your respect." On command, the knights following Rai fell to their knees in front of Isaac, shouting in unison, It is an honor to meet the young master of the Joshua family. Isaac watched in shock, thinking, look at their discipline. It is even better than the royal knights. Walking up to Isaac, Rai smiled and said, forgive me for my late arrival, Isaac. While we can't fully make up for what just happened, we did bring a little gift. With that, Rai leaned to the side and gestured toward one of his holy knights. Following his gaze, Isaac saw the knight reach into his chest pocket to pull out something sparkling. Intrigued, he thought, ooh, is it gold? A bag of gold coins? The next second, the knight presented the object to Isaac. This is a model of the Bone Demon King being executed. As he spoke, the knight pulled out several more figurines, adding, here is one of him being burned alive, and another of him being crushed to dust by the Saintess. With each figurine revealed, Isaac's face grew stiffer and stiffer. But the onlookers completely misread the situation. Oh my gosh, he's so precious. Look how much he loves it. How adorable. He's so happy he is literally crying. Isaac was utterly speechless. Fearing for his future, he thought, how am I supposed to survive in a family full of absolute lunatics? Wait, Joshua. Now I remember. They were the Saintesses who kept trying to defeat me. Lost in his memories, Isaac recalled a voice. I am Soju Joshua, the 45th generation Saintess, and I am the 61st generation holy son of the Joshua family. You are not worthy of knowing my name. Remembering this, Isaac felt a sudden throb in his head, thinking, wait, they are all from the Eshua family. Holy crap, not only was I born as a saint, but I was reborn into a holy clan too? What kind of horrific crime did I commit in my past life to deserve a punishment like this? While Isaac is busy cursing his fate, Massa continues to thrash around, yelling, you Eshua bastards! He's definitely a heretic. Where on earth did you pick up that brat? I will expose your true faces. How dare you scum shelter a monster? Has the Eshua clan rotted this much? In the name of God, I will cleanse the entire Eshua family. But with a swift draw of a sword, a blade grazes Massa's neck, leaving a tiny cut that instantly shuts him up. Coldly, the knight speaks up, be grateful. It's only because of the Eshua family's mercy that your head is still attached to your shoulders. Isaac thinks to himself, oh, this guy is actually pretty useful. That strike to shut the bishop's filthy mouth was absolutely beautiful. I wonder if he plans to use this as an excuse to go against the Holy See. Next, he looks at the holy knights surrounding him. Young master, you've suffered so much. From now on, you should only see beautiful things and hear pleasant words. Hearing them talk and seeing how they treat him, Isaac can only sigh in exhaustion. Man, what a bunch of idiots. I'm already starting to miss the Blue Faith Knights of the Eshua family. Those guys were actual badasses. And among my former subordinates, I think one of them was literally traumatized by the color blue. Right then, Alexander speaks up. I've caused you all trouble again. By the way, Sir Rilai, could you inform your family head that the royal family wishes to take custody of your young master? Alexander asks. Your Majesty, you must be joking, right? Rilai asks in disbelief. Meanwhile, Isaac is completely stunned. Wait, what? The royal family wants to adopt me? Alexander continues. The entire world is targeting your young master right now. You must know this better than anyone. I don't deny the strength of the Eshua family, but is it really enough to protect this child? Especially since the Pope is very displeased with your young master. One of the main reasons is that the child's hair color is a spitting image of the founder of the Holy Empire. For all we know, even the Skeleton King himself might be targeting him. Isaac thinks to himself, no way, I am the Skeleton King. How on earth could I target myself? After a moment of silence, Rilai replies, my deepest apologies, Your Majesty, but this child carries the blood of the Eshua family. We will raise him, no matter the cost. Even if we have to face the Pope or the Skeleton King, the Eshua family is more than capable of taking them on. Besides, our previous Saintess, Melissa, always wanted to meet the Skeleton King again. Is that so? Alexander murmurs. Rilai continues. Therefore, the Eshua family has every reason to keep and raise this child, who is a direct descendant of Saintess Melissa. Cradled in Rilai's arms, Isaac gasps internally at the mention of her name. Melissa, my final opponent before I vanished from the world. Is it really her? The most terrifying and insane saintess I have ever faced. Not only was I born as a candidate to be a saint in a holy clan, but I'm actually a direct descendant of Melissa. What kind of twisted fate is this? The story goes that after the church was defeated by the Skeleton King countless times, they decided to create a saintess as the ultimate weapon. A holy staff forged by God to punish all evil. The fierce blue lion of the Crusaders, unleashing a wave of divine light. The greatest light of the Holy Empire, the peak of a holy knight. With the Saintess's overwhelming combat power, everyone believed the Skeleton King would soon be defeated. Her attack and defense were almost on par with a god. With cockroach-level resilience, the ability to self-destruct if needed, radiant beauty, growing stronger over time, and an incredibly long lifespan. However, the Skeleton King was truly ruthless, Isaac thinks to himself. But I never actually killed a single Saintess. Doing that would have just backfired on me. Killing a Saintess would only return all of her holy power to God, allowing those damn gods to create a way stronger version of her next time. But that last Saintess, Melissa, she was ridiculously strong, and now, she's my ancestor? With an adoring expression, Rilai continues. She dedicated her entire life to witnessing the demise of the Skeleton King. The Eshua family is the cradle of saints, born with the mission to eradicate anything that dares oppose the gods. I am absolutely certain that the Eshua family is more than capable of protecting this child. Alexander frowns slightly in deep thought. Suddenly, a holy knight chimes in. Exactly. Do you have any idea how many Saintesses met their end at the hands of the Skeleton King? On the contrary, Isaac screams internally in frustration. That's a total lie. I didn't harm any of them. The holy knight continues. One of them was even locked up by the Skeleton King inside a labyrinth, simply because he deemed her unworthy of a fight. Isaac thinks, wait, I let her go. How was I supposed to know she was born with absolutely no sense of direction? And 5 other Saintesses lost their lives due to sheer rage. A lingering side effect of facing the Skeleton King. Furious, Isaac yells in his mind. Oh, come on. If you're sick, go see a doctor. Isaac's face involuntarily turns bright red. Rilai smiles gently and coos. Don't worry, sweetie. We've got everything under control. Even if it's a curse, we will absolutely protect you. Hearing this, Isaac gets even more annoyed and grumbles in his head. Am I the only one who has a problem with this? Rilai then lifts Isaac up with a warm smile and says, his arrival into this world is such a wonderful blessing. His parents only had one simple wish, that he wouldn't grow up to be anything like that vile demon Bone King. Isaac, with a completely constipated look on his face, thinks to himself, to my mother and father whom I've never met. Sorry to disappoint you both. Alexander speaks up, Rilai, please reconsider. It has already been 150 years since the Demon Bone King was sealed away. Isaac is shocked and thinks, it's been that long? Does that mean Melissa has finally croaked by now? If I remember correctly, she was already around 50 back then, Alexander continues. With the demon race growing stronger by the day, the Holy Sun is our key to helping the Holy Kingdom regain the upper hand. This child is absolutely vital to our royal family. Besides, there is currently no Saintess guarding Eshua. It has already been 1 year since the Saintess gave birth to this child and vanished alongside her husband. Isaac is taken aback and thinks, wait, my mother was a Saintess? Rilai speaks up. Even if they're gone, we still have her. The Eshua family is more than capable of protecting this child. Isaac holds his head in his tiny hands and groans to himself. Okay, I don't think anything else can shock me anymore. The fact that my mom was a Saintess is already way too much to handle. But just as he thinks that, he hears Alexander speak up. Isn't Lady Melissa currently on her way to crush the remnants of the Demon Bone King's minions? Rilai replies, she will be back soon. She is very eager to meet her grandchild. Hearing that cursed name Melissa once again, Isaac buries his face in his hands, crying inside, oh my God, she must be over 200 years old by now. How is she still kicking? Alexander then notes, it seems it will take some time for her to return. The baby's behavior seems a bit strange. Is he all right? Rilai answers, he is perfectly fine. Isaac complains inwardly, you call this fine? What could possibly be worse than finding out my mortal enemy is still alive and well? If that old hag Melissa finds out about me, I'll be burned alive at the stake. Anyone but her. Why does it have to be Melissa of all people? She's the absolute last person I want to face right now. If I want to survive, this is my only shot. An idea flashes in Isaac's mind, and he reaches out with both hands to grab Alexander's finger, flashing an adorable, pleading smile that says, Your Majesty, please take me with you. Overjoyed, Alexander exclaims, oh, look at this little guy. He clearly wants to come with me to the royal palace. Rilai quickly chimes in. He's just very clingy, Your Majesty. Alexander gently pulls one of Isaac's arms toward him and argues, The royal family can offer this boy so much more. Even though the Eshua family has raised many saints, they are still severely lacking when it comes to childcare experience. Rely also firmly grabs Isaac's other arm, pulling him back as he argues, "This child is destined to become an exorcist knight. He will wipe out the demons in the future." The Eshua family is the absolute best place to train exorcist knights. Besides, he is the very first holy son in history. It's not like the royal family has any experience with this either, right? And just like that, the two men keep tugging the baby back and forth, bickering over whether the royal palace the Eshua family is the better choice. Feeling like his tiny body is about to be ripped in half, Isaac screams internally in agony. Seeing this, a holy knight quickly cries out, "Please, calm down, you are hurting the young master." Hearing this, they finally stop, though neither of them is willing to let go of Isaac's tiny arms. Isaac groans in his head. "I've already chosen the royal family, so please just let go of me. I'm not ready to die yet. Besides, my survival rate is showing up as a light source, and all of it is pointing directly at the Emperor. That means my chances of survival are much higher if I go with him. I can't let this opportunity slip away." At that moment, the hand Alexander is holding starts to glow with a brilliant, blinding golden light. Alexander smiles and says, "That is a wise choice, holy son." A second later, Isaac gasps in shock. That night, in a secluded spot, Martha was kneeling on the ground, pleading to a group of hooded figures standing before her. "This is so unfair. He clearly used demonic energy. I am positive that child is a descendant of the Demon King." The leader of the hooded figures speaks up. "Is holy power a gift bestowed by the gods, something a lowly demon could ever use?" Under the dim moonlight, the speaker is revealed to be none other than Hooray. At the same time, behind Hooray, another hooded figure suddenly draws a sword and steps toward the kneeling Martha. Seeing this, Martha cries out in terror. "It was definitely demonic magic, sir. How could someone like me possibly mistake holy power for demonic magic?" Hooray replies, "In the Holy See, we despise the words you just spoke, Cardinal." Martha could only gasp those words before his voice was cut short. His head had just been clean severed by a sword. Hooray looks indifferently at Martha's headless corpse and finishes his sentence. "Blasphemous words against the gods." Behind him, a hooded figure spoke up. "I'll reform the squad to get this job done." He replied, "That's no longer necessary. The Emperor has already taken the child. Inside the Imperial Palace, we'll have plenty of opportunities to strike. Let's use that to our advantage. This time, make absolutely sure the target is eliminated." At night, a group of figures in black cloaks stood waiting behind, awaiting orders from their leader. The leader smirked and said, "The Emperor will bring the child with him anyway. Since there will be plenty of chances in the Imperial territory, we can plan our next move later." Thinking about the saint candidate who was still very much alive despite their failed assassination attempt, he hissed maliciously, "This time, that brat is definitely going to die." On a beautiful morning, bright sunlight streamed through the window. At this very moment, Isaac was lying down, lazily picking his ear. Under a clear blue sky, a luxurious carriage was being escorted by a retinue. Inside the carriage, Isaac thought to himself, "So, I'm heading to the house of Eshua." Hearing this news, the hooded leader was quite shocked. The followers behind him nervously thought, "Wait, sir." A few days ago, a brilliant light flashed inside the room. Isaac was stunned, thinking to himself, "What on earth is that light?" It was so blinding that even though he was being held by the Emperor, he had to cover his eyes with his tiny hands, thinking, "Ugh, why is it so bright? Ah, my eyes." The light was radiating from Rilai. He said, "Yes, your majesty, Eshua is indeed not a good place to raise a child." Placing his hand over his heart, he bowed slightly to show his sincerity. "You might think it is a place filled with nothing but demon corpses and mana cores." Isaac thought, "Is your desire to survive really that blindingly bright?" He gestured dramatically, and the more he spoke, the more his face shone like a high-beam headlight in Isaac's eyes. "The most valuable thing in Eshua is, at best, the corpse of the skeleton demon king." Hearing this, little Isaac froze in utter shock. In his mind, an image flashed of a skeleton lying inside a wooden coffin, arms crossed over its chest. "Wait, what? My body? You guys have my body?" He reached out with his tiny hand, grabbed Rilai's index finger, and grumbled, "You should have told me sooner." Rilai, who was still talking, paused as he noticed his nephew's sudden movement. "Even so, Eshua is." "Huh?" Isaac's other tiny hand clenched into a fist, extending his index finger. He babbled some baby gibberish, which to him meant, "Look at this, uncle." Held in the Emperor's arms, he flashed a smile as bright as an angel's. He squeezed Rilai's finger, as if saying, "Let's go to Eshua." Right then, his uncle Rilai looked like he had just won the lottery. Blushing with sheer joy, he emotionally called out his nephew's name. "Isaac!" Back to the present, surrounded by green trees, white clouds, and golden sunshine. Lying in the crib inside the luxurious carriage, Isaac rested his hands behind his head, crossed his legs, and watched the scenery roll past the window. He thought to himself, "Even though I was dragged away from the imperial palace and thrown into the military, if I want to get my body back, I have no other choice." Reminiscing about his skeleton body bursting with magic, he thought, "That body of mine, which I trained to possess mana, rivaling the gods. If I can get it back, level 10 would be absolutely nothing to me." Recalling Rilai's face, which had shone like a blinding ray of pure truth, Isaac analyzed. Besides, that was the first time I've ever seen the light of a survival instinct shine so brilliantly. Going with my uncle to Eshua will definitely work in my favor for my own survival. Of course, Isaac wasn't the only one in the carriage. Sitting right next to his crib was Rilai. Sitting across from them was a commander of the Blue Knights, who spoke up. "Why on earth are the Pope's forces pursuing young Master Isaac?" Hearing this, the baby boy sat up out of curiosity to eavesdrop, thinking, "I've been wondering the same thing. Why are they in such a frenzy?" Rilai glanced at his nosy little nephew and explained, "Because we received a prophecy from the gods. They said that the saint will become the child of the gods." Hearing this, Isaac gasped in surprise. The commander chimed in, "Which means he would become the next pope." Rilai replied, "Exactly. That's why the Barrett family wanted a saint so desperately." Hearing their conversation, Isaac's face darkened. He furrowed his brows and cursed inwardly. What kind of bizarre plot twist is this? The Pope is the strongest holy magic user, capable of wielding level 10 holy spells. He is basically a king to all the priests and paladins. In the Holy Empire, his power is almost equal to that of the Emperor himself. Isaac stroked his chin, analyzing the situation. For thousands of years, the Barrett family has produced the popes, so they must be absolutely losing their minds at the thought of a saint snatching that legacy right out of their hands. And that's why every other noble family is desperate to produce a saint of their own. Suddenly, the carriage screeched to a halt, and commotions could be heard outside. The two adults in the carriage looked out the window. Rilai slid open the glass and poked his head out, asking, "What's going on out there?" The carriage driver nervously replied, "Young master, we have reached the gates, but there is a slight problem." While he was explaining, the gate guards in the distance started approaching. Behind them, two guards crossed their spears, signaling a strict ban on passing. The leader raised his hand to halt the group. "Apologies, but you cannot enter the principality." Isaac thought with curiosity, "Ugh, what is it this time?" Angry, Rilai threw open the carriage door, stepped down, and snapped, "How dare you pretend not to recognize the crest of the House of Eshua? What kind of upbringing do you people have?" The guard gave a cold smile, revealing sharp, menacing fangs. "Of course you can't enter." Right then, the three of them began to transform, their claws and fangs growing. "We are here to eliminate the child who inherits the saint's bloodline," one of the Blue Knights exclaimed. Even Isaac, who was leaning out of the carriage window, was caught off guard and thought, "What the hell is going on? I know for a fact I ordered them to stay out of human territory. What the hell is the new Demon King doing?" The lead demon burst into laughter and declared, "Listen up, you lowly humans. Our revered king has ordered us to slaughter every saint and saintess without hesitation." Hearing this, Isaac knew his suspicion was right. "I knew it. The new Demon King has already taken the throne." The demon continued, "In the name of our great Skeleton King, His Majesty Isaac, we shall take the saint's life." He grumbled in frustration, "In my name, my foot. When did I ever order that, you complete idiot?" The lead demon laughed menacingly. "If you leave the child behind, His Majesty, the Skeleton King, might just spare your miserable life." The moment those words left its mouth, a powerful bolt of blue lightning struck that loudmouthed leader. As the lightning faded, the demon was reduced to a charred corpse on the grass. The remaining two demons shrieked in terror, "You filthy holy knight!" The holy knight gritted his teeth. "You dare speak like that to an exorcist of the Rothschild family? It seems you guys are begging for a painful death." Ray pointed his sword at the two demons blocking the entrance. "Listen up." He drew the blade back to his chest and recited his oath. "To protect all small and innocent things in this world." Holding the sword with both hands at chest level, The tip pointed straight to the sky. Not just Ray, but the entire squad of blue knights behind him did the exact same. They shouted in unison, "The Rothschild family will eradicate all evil. We will hunt your kind down to the deepest depths of hell to wipe you out." Ray smirked mockingly. "I can't believe that vile Skeleton King actually sent his underlings just to retrieve his own corpse." This seemed to trigger the demons, and they immediately charged. "How dare you, you lowly human!" One of them rushed forward, screaming, "Blasphemy against demon, King Isaac, for the resurrection of his majesty, Lord Isaac." Just then, the commander of the Blue Knights snatched Isaac out of the carriage right before it exploded. Sprinting away at full speed, he said, "Forgive me, young master, for being so rough." Isaac was completely lost and thought, "What is going on? Is someone impersonating me?" The commander finally stopped after retreating to a safe distance. Setting Isaac down on the ground, he said, "Please wait here." He cast a blue protective barrier around the boy and added, "I will be right back." Isaac was surprised. A protective barrier? He reached out and touched the barrier. Even a high-ranking demon wouldn't be able to bypass this. It was incredibly strong. He analyzed it with a smile. Since nothing can get in from the outside, that also means nothing from the inside can get out. Isaac closed his eyes. In that case, using my survival instinct, activate mana, unsealing magic. Calmly sitting cross-legged, he closed his eyes and channeled his magical power. Hear my call. A being born of magic, yet possessing intellect. Whisper. Observer. The moment the observer materialized, it flew straight into its master's lap like an excited puppy. "Oh, revered teacher, my master," Isaac spoke to it telepathically. Yeah, I get it. Long time no see. Now quiet down before we get caught." The spirit calmed down. "I thought I would never lay eyes on your magnificent face again." He sighed as well. "Honestly, I thought I was a goner too." Watching the phantom bounce around like a happy child, Isaac thought to himself, "It really has been a long time." Whisper. Even though it is a scouting spell, it actually has a consciousness of its own. I created it because manually casting search spells and analyzing the data was just way too much of a hassle. Over time, it developed its own personality, though it is still quite naive. It praised him, "Your cruelty is as magnificent as ever. Congratulations on stealing the body of such an innocent young child." Hearing this, Isaac watched the phantom fly in circles around the barrier. It asked curiously, "But what did those filthy gods do to you, master? No matter how wicked my master is, I can't believe they would stuff you into the pathetic body of this human child." Isaac snapped, "That is enough. Scan for enemies." The phantom obeyed. "Understood. Beginning the scan now." With that, its mana began to bleed into the air. "I will now search within a 100-meter radius." Once the scan was complete, it looked over at the battle between the demons and the Blue Knights and reported, "There are 88 enemies, all of them monsters. Lowlifes like them could never compare to you, my great master." Isaac was stunned. Are they out of their minds? Wait, 88 of them? Are they trying to start a full-blown war, or what? Thinking about the prospect of more guards, he became annoyed. It is going to be a huge pain if they tighten security in this territory. Summoning my subordinates will only get harder. Since things have gotten this bad, I need to wrap this up before the Rothschild family catches on. Inside the barrier, he crouched down, steeling his resolve. Even if I have to burn through all my reserve mana, I will have to handle this myself. Seeing this, the phantom was puzzled. It turned its attention back to the battlefield and reported, "Currently, there are 51 enemies." It seemed a bit taken aback itself. The enemy count is dropping rapidly, now down to only 31. Isaac gasped. "What? Just like that?" The phantom updated. "Now it is 13. On the battlefield, the Blue Knights fought while keeping an eye on their surroundings. One of them yelled, "Young master, something is heading our way." Ray immediately ordered, "Everyone, defensive formation. Don't let the remaining demons." The phantom cut in, down to only 4. The demons look up. "He is finally here, brother," one demon says excitedly. "Let us do this together. Today, we take the saint's life." The newly arrived demon, looking like a mere shadow, whispers, "The saint," while the other demons are still hyped up, and before the Skeleton King can even finish his sentence, a purple shadow flashes by and wipes them all out. Witnessing this sudden turn of events, the group of Blue Knights is also caught completely off guard. The ghost beside Isaac says cheerfully, "No more enemies left," but Isaac just scowls with worry. Right then, a lich appears in the middle of the battlefield. Its terrifying presence makes the knights flinch in fear. Meanwhile, the ghost reports what it sees on the battlefield. I have spotted the Lich. Who knows what someone did to make the Lich fly into a blind rage? How dare you lay your filthy hands on my king? Pay for this with your lives. Seeing the Lich targeting him, Isaac's face darkens with worry. What the hell is wrong with it this time? The Lich's eyes turn razor sharp. My king, my one and only master. How dare you imprison him inside the body of this lowly child? Unleashing its twisted emotions, the demon spirit looks at Isaac and declares, I will set you free. It glares down at the knights and snarls. Don't you dare look at that child with your disgusting eyes. The Lich threatens, or else I'll tear your eyes out. Below, the commander of the Blue Knights quietly asks Relai, Young master, what is this demon talking about? The truth is, humans cannot comprehend the language of demons because they speak an entirely different tongue. Inside the barrier, the little ghost beside Isaac giggles. Oh my, look at the absolute chaos out there. Isaac is completely speechless as he watches the scene unfold. It seems that Bastard realized he is the Skeleton King. His dedication to tracking him down is quite impressive though. But on the other side, an order is already being barked out. All knights, prepare for battle. The crowd responds with a loud shout, ready to charge at the Lich. Seeing this, Isaac gets even more frustrated and thinks, why did it have to show up so blatantly like this? Safe behind the sturdy barrier, he flails his arms and babbles loudly in a baby language that absolutely no one can understand but him. Hey, you guys, keep your hands off my property. That is my giant mana core. Seeing his little master throwing a tantrum, the commander panics, worried he might attract the demon's attention. Young Master Isaac, please hang on just a little longer. I will handle this. But before he can even finish his sentence, the Lich lets out a roaring laugh. It looks at Isaac, cupping its face like a blushing schoolgirl, and laughs in pure ecstasy. My master, the guide of my destiny, has officially acknowledged me. Not understanding a single word, and only seeing the demon laugh, the commander starts to panic. Young Master Relai, this demon is mocking us. Right after that, it completely ignores the knights and charges straight toward Isaac at lightning speed. I will be by your side in a flash, my lord. Meanwhile, Uncle Relai quickly notices that the vile creature is heading straight for Isaac. Approaching the barrier where Isaac is, the Lich continues to curse. You filthy holy knights, how dare you lock him up in such an unclean place? Isaac is secretly thrilled. Oh, awesome, he saw me. He gets excited as it draws closer. Now, he does not have to just stand by and watch his precious mana core get purified. He orders it. First, hurry up and help me break this protective barrier. Happily raising its claws, it smashes them down hard on the barrier. As you command. The commander screams in panic. Young master, the barrier is broken. Uncle Relai is also terrified. Isaac. Meanwhile, Isaac wears a smug grin as the barrier shatters. He grabs the Lich's hand, and mana instantly surges. He praises it. Well done. Right after, he drains the mana from its body. Now, stop causing a scene and get some rest. This throws the Lich into a state of panic. Watching its body being sucked into the totem, the Lich screams, Master! As it gets dragged into the totem, it asks in despair, why? Meanwhile, Relai and the commander, who were rushing over, witness the entire scene. Uncle Relai stares in utter shock at his completely unharmed nephew, who is giggling next to the totem. He mutters, is that the holy magic that seals a demon into a totem? The commander rejoices. The very first sealing was a massive success. He is absolutely extraordinary. The Blue Knights cheer wildly for young Master Isaac. It is a high-level holy spell that only powerful figures, like the Saintess or a cardinal, are capable of using. Isaac cannot comprehend the logic of these clueless humans. What holy magic? I am using magic. Uncle Relai watches silently, crossing his arms as he voices his suspicion. That is definitely the holy spell that turns demons into totems. But why is it that when such a high-level holy spell was cast, I could not sense even a single trace of holy energy fluctuating? Still lost in his excitement, the commander replies, well, you know, it is only in the most desperate moments that a person's true potential is unleashed. Recalling the moment the Lich shattered the barrier, he analyzes, that demon was targeting the young master. The demon spirit must have instinctively sensed the danger, which is why it risked everything to eliminate this potential threat. The commander gushes with pride. Isn't our young master just incredible? I am absolutely sure of it. I swear our young master is the Holy Sun. This level of delusion leaves Uncle Relai completely speechless. Isaac was completely speechless. He watched the squad commander try to plant a kiss on his cheek, only to be pushed away in sheer annoyance. Meanwhile, Du-Rai thought to himself, yes, this is it. Even the demon clan has already started keeping their eyes on this kid. Even if he isn't the Holy Son, there is definitely something special about him. Du-Rai hung his head in frustration, thinking, why did it have to be a boy? He frowned, his face darkening as he remembered the curse. Because of the curse of the Demon Bone King, no male born to the Rosua family would ever live a long life. As he was lost in thought, he heard the commander speak up. I have made my decision. Holding Isaac in his arms, the commander made a solemn vow. In the name of the commander of the Blue Knights, I will protect Isaac's future and the future of the entire Rosua family. Hearing those words, Du-Rai froze for a moment before a smile broke across his face. Of course. How could I be so foolish? He reached out his hands, wanting to hold his nephew. Why should they let themselves be held back by the Demon Bone King's curse? This child was destined to bring immense glory to the Rosua family. Lifting his nephew into the air, Du-Rai smiled warmly. Let's go home, Isaac. Your uncle is going to teach you so many things. He continued. With your incredible talent, you will surely become a legendary holy knight, revered by everyone. Isaac flashed a sweet, happy baby smile, but deep down he was thinking, yeah, keep dreaming. There is no way I'm doing what you want. Just get me home and give me back my real body. But Du-Rai's very next words made him freeze for a solid 2 seconds. Even if your time is short, I swear, I will protect you with my life, no matter the cost. Isaac's mind went completely blank with shock. Wait, what? Du-Rai kept rambling on about his grand plans. Your name will ring out across this entire continent. Isaac panicked, letting out a series of frantic baby babbles. In his head, he was screaming, hold on a minute. I just heard something incredibly messed up. But to Du-Rai, it looked like the baby was cheering him on. His new uncle got even more hyped up. I knew you'd love the idea. Isaac started squirming in pure despair. No, I don't. Let me go. Du-Rai beamed with excitement. As soon as we get back, I am going to teach you how to curse that absolute bastard, the Demon Bone King. Hearing this, Isaac's face turned pitch black. Who the hell do you think you're calling a bastard, you prick? Eventually, they finally arrived at the grand estate of the Duke of Rosua. It was an incredibly massive estate, complete with sprawling gardens, opulent decor, gilded statues, and a giant pavilion. Peeking out from the carriage window, Isaac was absolutely blown away, but he was also burning with pure envy. Those Rosua bastards. While my demon clan is out there suffering and being hunted down, they get to live in absolute luxury? Just how much is all of this worth? Thinking back to his poor, starving demon children begging for food every day, Isaac wanted to burst into tears. Those capitalist pigs. While I had to work my butt off just to put food on the table for my kids, the observer spirit whispered, Master, Master, this place is on a whole different level compared to our dusty old home. If we just sold a few of those gold statues, we could buy 10 Demon King castles. Isaac was practically shaking with rage. I know that. Shut up. You don't need to remind me. As he was looking around, his uncle Du-Rai picked him up. This is the Rosua family estate, Isaac, he introduced. The legendary home where our demon-slaying and exorcism history began. He lifted his nephew higher and opened the window on the other side. Go ahead. Take a look. Out on the lawn, there was a scarecrow that looked suspiciously like the Demon Bone King tied to a wooden cross. A few young teenagers were practicing their strikes by beating the absolute crap out of it. Right next to his ear, Du-Rai whispered, Once you grow up, you will be joining them. The kids were swinging heavy wooden sticks, ruthlessly bashing the scarecrow while chanting, Go to hell, Demon Bone King. They looked completely unhinged, wearing creepy, twisted smiles as they hurled insults with every single blow. Demon Bone King, we'll rip you to shreds, you absolute piece of trash. Even garbage is better than you. Being torn apart is too good for you, Demon Bone King. Their vicious chants kept echoing, Die, just die. Inside the carriage, Du-Rai was beaming with pride, while Isaac felt a massive headache coming on. What kind of sick propaganda are you people brainwashing these kids with? Is this whole family just a bunch of religious fanatics? Taking a deep breath, he tried to calm himself down. It's fine, it's fine. He smirked as a plan started forming in his head. All I need to do is infiltrate the Holy Empire, burn their emperor alive, and rebuild this entire place into the glorious Isaac Empire. The little spirit chuckled nervously. Come on, Master. They're just kids. A grand and mighty ruler like the Demon Bone King wouldn't let a bunch of bratty children get under his skin, right? Are you calling me petty? Isaac snapped back in his mind. Shut your trap and go scout the area. The spirit immediately replied, right away, sire. A moment later, over a dozen glowing bright spots appeared, scattered all over the mansion in front of Isaac's eyes. His eyes widened in absolute shock and quickly lit up. Whoa. Are those all mana cores? I can count at least a dozen of them from here. The little spirit smiled. This is the very first time I have ever seen so many mana cores gathered in a single place, Master. I can't even imagine how many of our demon brothers they had to slaughter to get all of these. Finally, the carriage came to a halt. We have arrived, Master. Du-Rai carried the baby down and immediately ordered the servants, go prepare a room. Isaac will be staying with me. The butler, who came out to greet them, hesitated, saying, well, about that, sir. I am terribly sorry. Lord Du-Rai, we have received strict orders to escort young Master Isaac directly to the annex. Du-Rai frowned, clearly annoyed. The annex? Why? The butler answered nervously. The Fifth Lord has explicitly forbidden young Master Isaac from ever setting foot inside the main estate. Isaac was annoyed. What is it now? Relai frowned and gritted his teeth. Does he really want to take Isaac to that deadly, cursed place? Ajax also frowned, thinking to himself, this family is completely messed up. I've known it ever since I saw a newborn baby, not even weaned yet, thrown outside. The Eshua family is on the brink of collapse. His seventh uncle, Rilai, grumbled. My brother really did something completely pointless. He agreed, thinking, exactly. I could live comfortably in the mansion, so why on earth would I go to the annex? The specter chuckled. The mana core you need is right there in the annex, my lord. Talk about a total dagger to the heart. Relai brushed past the butler and walked straight inside. Step aside. I will never let my nephew stay in a god-forsaken place like that. Isaac screamed in absolute despair. No, I want to go to the annex. I want to go to the annex. Seventh uncle coaxed him warmly. Come on, let's go to my room. Isaac, I'll read you a bedtime story about how the great Saintess fought the Skeleton Demon King. He froze, thinking, hell no, that's basically an exorcism. Relai continued, and once we're done with that, I'll teach you the specific exorcism method used against the Skeleton Demon King. He didn't even have the strength to cry anymore. Are you trying to kill me? Just as they were walking in, someone stepped up to block their path. You're making such a big deal out of bringing in some homeless stray. The man said, I'm positive. I ordered that child to be sent straight to the annex. He crossed his arms and spoke grandly to Relai. This is our first meeting in ages, and you already want to defy your older brother? The speaker was none other than the fifth son of the Eshua family, Goel Eshua. Isaac stared wide-eyed at his newly arrived fifth uncle, who looked like a total villain. He noted, he looks like a straight-up thug. Goel pointed at Isaac and said, put him down, I'll take him to the annex myself. Relai snapped back, are you kidding me? This child is a descendant of the Eshua family. There's no way we're sending him to the annex, a place we used to exile people to. Isaac glared at his blood-related fifth uncle, thinking, that rude bastard is definitely on the side that doesn't want me here. Seventh uncle Relai held him close. Get out of the way. I still have to tell my nephew the story of how the Skeleton Demon King was purified. Looking extremely annoyed, Isaac screamed inwardly, hey, put me down. I don't care if you send me to the annex, just let me go. Goel stepped forward, poked his cheek, and sneered at Relai. Hey, where'd you find this baby skeleton anyway? Then he spat. Descendant my ass. Isaac gritted his teeth in anger. I mean, I actually want him to send me to the annex, but what the hell is this bastard's problem? Is he a priest or a thug? Then he thought better of it. Whatever. I just need to get to the annex and absorb my mana core. Relai called Goel out. Do you think I don't know why you want to banish my nephew to the annex? He said, you just want everyone to think he's cursed so you can keep him out of the competition, don't you? Hearing those key words, Isaac froze. Keep me out of the competition? What the actual hell? Wait a minute. Remembering his plans, he fumed inwardly. Like hell you will. I still have to destroy this entire family, become a saint, and then climb my way up to being the Pope. And most importantly, I have to get my revenge on those bastard gods. Goel smirked like the jerk he was. Want people to think that? I heard a demon actually emerged from this kid. For all we know, he might have been born cursed. The commander argued back. That's not true. Young Master Ajax helped destroy that demon. He voiced his stance. The very fact that a demon targeted him in the first place just proves how important he really is. Another knight chimed in. Exactly. He possesses the holy power of a saint. Goel didn't care and sneered. Oh, I'm practically moved to tears. Just how much effort did you guys put into covering up for this piece of trash? Don't mess with me. If you're going to call him the next saint, then show me his power. The specter beside him added fuel to the fire. He wants to see your power, my lord. How about you summon a meteor to show him? Ajax retorted in annoyance. Meteor, my ass. Goel turned. That's right, since you've called him a saint. He looked toward a withered tree. Then look over there. The tree had no life left in it, even giving off a chilling aura of death. Goel challenged. The symbol of our family. Why don't you have him revive the very thing the family head treasures so much? Pointing at the tree with an evil grin, he said, that holy tree died from the dark mana of the demon race. If he truly has what it takes to be a saint, then reviving that tree should be child's play for him, right? Then he gave a sinister laugh. Of course, that's only if he's actually the saint you claim he is. Seeing how dangerous Goel looked, Relai instinctively shielded his beloved nephew and asked, have you even looked at yourself lately? Isaac was also starting to feel a bit freaked out. He lamented inwardly. Melissa, you were amazing at fighting. But why on earth are your descendants so useless? He thought to himself, the eldest son is missing, and the fifth son is a total classless jerk. Just as he was thinking this, something caught his eye, and Isaac's jaw dropped in shock. Huh? That's... The specter grinned broadly. What is it, my lord? What do you see? He reached out and grabbed the specter. What else could it be? Hey, what did I do to get grabbed by the head? The ghost shrieked in shock. Huh? But someone already threw it, commanding, hurry up and take it all for me. Before the ghost could even realize what was happening, it was thrown. It cried out in panic. Wait a minute. Meanwhile, back at the old spot, Relai was still arguing with Goel. A tree that has been dead for 70 years, yet you expect a baby who can't even talk to save it? Suddenly, a rustling sound echoed. Relai was stunned, and Goel spun around, losing his composure. Relai couldn't believe his eyes. What on earth? The sacred tree. The tree before them was no longer withered and filled with the aura of death it had revived, blooming with lush green. Seeing the vibrant tree, he asked in delight, It actually revived. Goel stood frozen. Even when they used purification and restoration magic on it, the tree had still been slowly dying. He couldn't believe his eyes. What the hell is going on here? Pleased with his opponent's utter shock, Isaac smirked and thought, it's really nothing special. He stroked his chin and praised himself. There was a bit of dark mana near the roots, so I just absorbed all of it. The ghost returned to his side, letting out a heavy sigh and replying wearily, I've absorbed all the mana over there. I'm so full. I think I'm gonna burst. The squad leader stammered, Mr. Relai, how did that tree? What did you do? Relai replied, I didn't do anything. The squad leader shifted his gaze. Then, could it be? The one sitting in Seventh Uncle's arms? Isaac let out a sigh, babbling words that no one could understand except for him and the ghost. It was all pure mana. What a total waste. The ghost asked, now what? Do you want me to throw it all back up? The squad leader shouted in joy. Then it must have been young Master Isaac's doing. Right after that, the knights started cheering and chanting his name, giving him quite a scare. Amidst the enthusiastic cheers, only Goel refused to believe it. Seeing his plan fall apart, he made excuses. This is insane. No one in this family has ever been able to save that tree. How could a mere toddler do something like this? He scrambled for an excuse. Someone must have helped him. Meanwhile, the knights were tossing him up in the air like a hero, competing to shower him with praise, as expected of young Master Isaac. Over on his side, Goel thought slyly, right, it has to be Relai. First it was exorcism, and now purification. As if realizing something, his fists clenched, and his whole body trembled as he demanded, you did this, didn't you? Relai looked confused. What do you mean? Goel flew into a rage, grabbing Relai by the collar and roaring, you must have gotten help from the Saintess, and then made it look like that little piece of trash did it, right? Relai grabbed his hands, trying to pry them off. What on earth are you talking about? Goel seemed to have completely lost his mind, screaming, cut the cheap tricks. Relai replied helplessly, how could I have possibly met the missing Saintess? The knights stopped cheering and anxiously looked over at the two of them. Isaac watched the chaotic scene, utterly bored. He thought to himself, Melissa, You should really focus on managing your own family instead of going around hunting demons. Your family is a total mess. Looking at his uncle's distorted face, he silently judged him. Still, this guy who claims to be my uncle looks nothing like Melissa. Honestly, it's easier to believe that Rilai is just Melissa in disguise. The ghost chimed in, "What about him then?" A thought popped into Isaac's mind. "Honestly, he reminds me more of that bastard Pope." Goal bellowed, "Don't you dare play dumb with me. You think I don't know you brought this brat back just to make him the next saint candidate? I can't believe you'd resort to such dirty tricks when our family already has a saint candidate." Hearing this, Isaac's curiosity was piqued. There's actually another candidate in this family? And to make matters worse, this rude bastard really wants that candidate to win. The ghost chuckled. "Looks like you have some competition, but you don't seem to care at all, do you?" He thought with amusement, "Don't you think that candidate will turn out just as wicked, especially with this bastard backing him? Crushing him is going to be so much fun." The ghost reconsidered. "Yeah, that actually makes sense." Seventh Uncle Rilai couldn't listen to his nonsense any longer and questioned him. "So, what? Are we just supposed to abandon the boy? He is our nephew and our eldest brother's son. He has every right to lead this family." Gol scoffed. "Nonsense. Eldest brother. He abandoned us and ran away when our family was in danger." Then he blew a fuse again, shouting, "You still have the nerve to bring up that worthless brother of ours? You only just let us know this kid even existed." In the distance, Isaac remained completely indifferent to why he was being shunned. "Ah, so that's why I'm treated like garbage." The ghost advised him, "You shouldn't talk about your own life with such indifference." Goel sneered maliciously, "Oh, but this brat is still the Saintess's son, isn't he? He might just be some half-blood she had out there, whom we brought back. But well, she was still the Saintess after all." The next words out of Goel's mouth were incredibly asking for a beating. "But we can't even be sure he's actually our brother's kid, can we? I suppose his face looks decent enough because he takes after that woman." He kept pushing Rilai's buttons, saying, "If it benefits the family, I say we just sell him off to preserve our bloodline." Hearing those words, Rilai didn't hesitate for a second and threw a hard punch straight into his face. Goel trembled with rage, snapping, "Are you out of your mind? Did you just hit me?" Rilai roared. "Did you seriously think you could get away with saying such garbage?" Goel's knights turned pale, while Rilai happily thought, "That is right, family should spar like this once in a while to bond." Thanks to that, I also managed to get some pretty useful info. Seeing Rilai single-handedly wipe the floor with Goel, the other knights rushed in to pull Rilai back before he did any more damage. "Sir, you cannot do this," someone screamed. "Stop them, quick!" Isaac watched with utter indifference, thinking, the more chaotic this family gets, the better. It will only make taking it over that much easier. He let out a sinister chuckle in unintelligible baby talk, thinking, this damn family is already falling apart on its own. The ghost laughed nervously and thought, but wait, if this family collapses, will you not kick the bucket too, young master? Has your brain shrunk along with your body? Isaac snapped, telling him to shut his mouth. After all that chaos, everyone finally headed inside the lavish mansion. Isaac was plopped right onto the table, his little face twisted into a grumpy pout. He thought irritably, this is so annoying. Around the long conference table, the summoned clan members began to whisper among themselves, Great, another kid? What are we supposed to do with this brat now? Taking in the scene, Isaac sighed to himself. Not a single person in this crazy family is sane. Is this seriously how they treat an heir? The murmurs continued. Since we took in that country bumpkin and raised her to be a saintess, the least she could do was not give birth to a useless son. She does not deserve to be the saintess. Hearing this, Isaac felt like he was about to lose his mind. Hey, are you all crazy? That is going way too far, a woman snapped, instantly silencing the room. She said, Rely. We already agreed to raise this child in the annex to avoid drawing unwanted attention. This woman was the second wife of the family head, Eli Eshua. The acting matriarch, Henna Eshua. She demanded, Why on earth did you bring this child here? Isaac silently observed her, thinking, wow, she is not even trying to hide her hostility, is she? She is definitely the one pulling the strings behind those who want to banish me to the annex. Meanwhile, Goel, with a bandage over his smashed nose, gritted his teeth in anger. The acting matriarch is asking you a question. Answer her right now. Isaac figured she must be the aunt of this trash uncle. Uncle Rilai ignored her question and asked, Is father not here? Henna replied, He is out of town. Honestly, this whole saint candidate business is a total mess. Rilai sighed. What a shame. Then, he dropped a massive bombshell. He really should have been here to hear that the oldest grandson of this family, Isaac, has revived the sacred tree. This news made Henna and Goel leap to their feet in shock. Goel slammed his hand on the table and protested. That was just a coincidence. How could a tiny brat like him pull off something like that? It must have been the prayers of the Eshua family finally being answered. An elderly matriarch chimed in. I agree. Even our family head could not find a solution. So how could a mere child succeed? Henna crossed her arms as she sat back down, agreeing, I concur. She smirked, thinking, besides, there is absolutely no proof anyway. The elders began to whisper, the matriarch is absolutely right. It is a true blessing that the sacred tree has been revived. Isaac looked at them, finding the whole thing ridiculous. Look at these clowns, he thought, stretching out both of his little hands. You want proof, do you? A brilliant blue light suddenly flared up, freezing Goel and Henna in their tracks. The elders and Rilai stared in utter disbelief. Right before their eyes, a glowing blue crystal materialized as Isaac gestured with his hands. The baby grinned triumphantly, thinking, then open your eyes and take a good look. An elder stammered, that energy. Staring at the crystal floating in front of Isaac, the elder gasped, that is the power of the sacred tree. Isaac babbled happily, thinking, surprise, surprise, you bunch of amateurs. Inside the luxurious room, the council of elders sat around the table, discussing the situation. One of them spoke up, it seems Isaac has completely removed the mana that was corrupting the sacred tree. Another elder gasped, what? It is true that there was corrupted mana on the sacred tree, but how could a newborn baby possibly remove it? The female elder sitting next to him replied, is that not the most logical explanation we have right now? After all, the child literally manifested a physical form of that mana, right in front of our eyes. Another elder pushed up his glasses, looking thoughtful as he added, yes, but even if this exorcism method works, it certainly could not have been simple. Just one tiny mistake could have easily killed the sacred tree. That is exactly why the family head chose periodic purification over a direct exorcism. Goel stared at everyone in sheer panic. What on earth were they talking about? There is no way in hell a newborn baby could do something like that. Rilai nodded in agreement with the elders. Isaac must have instinctively exorcised the dark mana. Sitting nearby, Isaac crossed his arms, looking incredibly smug. Exactly, but then, everyone heard Rilai continue. A baby who is still drinking mother's milk just did something that nobody in the Holy Vatican could achieve for the past 70 years. Hearing those words, Goel immediately glared at Rilai with pure hatred. What is he even talking about? Goel slammed his fist onto the table in protest. Elders, do you honestly believe this utter nonsense? He screamed in frustration. A newborn performing an exorcism? He does not even know how to talk yet. If anyone outside hears about this, they will laugh right in our faces. Look at him. It is hard to believe he is even of the Eshua bloodline. What if he actually comes from some nameless nobody family? Bored out of his mind, Isaac casually picked at his ear, half-heartedly listening to the rest of their discussion. Then, Rilai spoke up with a serious expression. Honored elders, please hear me out. This child will definitely become a saint, and he might even become the next pope. Isaac proudly thought to himself, spot on. Suddenly, a hand grabbed him and lifted him up. Then, Isaac heard them say, and on top of all that, this child will destroy the Skeleton King. Isaac panicked. What the hell? You should have just stopped at the last part. The moment the Skeleton King was mentioned, the elders immediately began whispering among themselves. The Skeleton King? That vile creature? Hearing this, a woman smirked sinisterly, whispering, you are digging your own grave, Rilai. Then, she looked directly at Goel and Isaac and said, if you are so confident, why don't we put him to the test? In the shadows, she rested her chin on her hands, a dark, cruel smile spreading across her face. I demand to open the sacred relic vault. Meanwhile, in the northwestern region of the Holy Kingdom of Helen, deep within the Black Forest. In a desolate woodland of dead trees and sharp thorns, the air was thick with the scent of death. A monster had just had its throat slit, fresh blood splattering all over the ground. A man stood before the beast's corpse, his black cloak fluttering in the wind as a strange, eerie mist enveloped him. Sheathing his sword, he muttered, this place is nothing special. A guard approached from behind, dropping to one knee to bow respectfully. Greetings, Lord Patriarch. Without turning around, the man asked coldly, what is it? The guard quickly replied, Your representative at the main estate has requested access to the sacred relic vault, my lord. Walking forward, the man spoke with clear impatience. I made it clear that the Holy Church is not allowed to use it. The guard quickly clarified, that is not a request from the Holy Church, my lord. Your grandson successfully revived the sacred tree, so the acting matriarch wants to test if the child truly possesses the qualities of a saint. The man suddenly whipped around, taking a step toward the guard. What do you mean by that? Clenching his fist with a deep frown, he looked down at the guard and demanded, why on earth would there be a saint in our family? This man was none other than the patriarch of the Eshua family, Eli Eshua. He looked at the guard and ordered, I won't allow it. Only a saintess can survive going in there. Tell them to avoid unnecessary trouble. No exceptions, tell them to go ahead with it. Suddenly, a woman with long white hair dressed in noble attire walked up, saying with great amusement, who did you say it was? This woman was none other than the former matriarch of the Eshua family and the former Saintess, Melissa Eshua. She smiled and murmured, reviving the sacred tree. Isn't that quite impressive? Since the vault is being opened anyway, why don't we send all the candidates for Saint and Saintess inside? Hearing this, the guard panicked immediately. What? Seeing the sheer amusement in Melissa's eyes and the quiet resignation of the patriarch, the guard could only grit his teeth and ask, but if we do that, what if a child from another family manages to take a valuable relic from the vault? Melissa smiled and replied, I actually hope they do. Even the most talented saintesses of previous generations couldn't take a single thing from that vault. Who knows? If someone manages to retrieve that item, maybe they can find and destroy the Skeleton King. Her eyes gleamed with curiosity. In that case, we should reward them handsomely, shouldn't we? Then, Melissa turned to the guard and ordered him to pass on her words. Whoever brings out the best treasure from the vault will receive a reward that even the Pope himself cannot buy. They will be given the heirloom of the Eshua family. The guard broke into a cold sweat hearing this. Meanwhile, Melissa cheerfully added, and they will be personally trained by me in the family's secret arts. Then, she clenched her fists in excitement and declared, whichever child succeeds can have anything they want. Legend has it that the sacred relic vault is a place that not only holds divine power, but also hides a secret technique dating back thousands of years. For generations, the saintesses have held the responsibility of guarding this vault. This is why people say the Eshua family is the true owner of the vault. Since only children under 10 years old are allowed to enter, the vault is typically used as a rite of passage for saintess candidates. At just 1 year old, these children enter and choose an item. People then predict what kind of power the saintess will possess based on the item she brings back. However, the vault is an incredibly dangerous place. Even saintess candidates face a high risk of losing their lives upon entering. After several tragic incidents, the vault was sealed. An eerie shadow smirked sinisterly. Let's see about that. It then stared intently at Isaac and said, if my master can survive and bring back the treasure. Isaac frowned in irritation, as if to say, why are you even recounting this to me? Meanwhile, the ghost hovering above his head kept trying to persuade him. But you're looking forward to it too, aren't you, master? Isaac's eyes gleamed as he replied, of course I am. He was highly anticipating it, continuing, they say the remains of the skeleton demon king are kept inside. Suddenly, a hand reached down and lifted him out of his crib. Are you excited, young master? The Blue Knight commander asked Isaac with a smile. The matriarch has opened up the archive to all candidates. Isaac was secretly shocked. All of them? As if to answer Isaac's silent question, the commander gleefully tossed him into the air and said, every descendant from the 5 prestigious families will be gathered here. Even though that cursed Pope's family is coming too, I'm absolutely sure you'll win no matter what. Young master. Watching this, the Phantom could only sigh. It looks like they are making a huge deal out of this. Isaac was tossed high into the air, but his mind never stopped calculating. Actually, this works out. The more people there are, the easier they'll be distracted. That makes it way easier to get my body back. As Isaac fell back down, someone else caught him, and he heard a warm, familiar voice. You need to be careful, Isaac. Relai held Isaac in front of him, warning, the demons captured from the battlefield will be guarding that place. Isaac made a mental note, so there's danger because of the guarding demons? Then he thought, if they got caught like that, they're probably only level 6 at best. I'll just overpower them. But before Isaac could finish his calculation, Relai threw a bucket of cold water on his plans. Those level 8 demons are no joke, Relai said as he placed Isaac back in his crib. Hearing this, Isaac immediately flinched in shock. What the hell? Why are level 8 demons even in there? The commander then chimed in. Even so, that level 9 dragon is probably the worst part. Relai smiled and replied, well, if we're only looking at levels, then yes. Hearing their conversation, the Phantom wanted to cry. This entire Joshua family must be completely insane. Putting a dragon in a place where a bunch of kids are going? Isaac was left completely speechless as well. The Phantom tried to comfort him. Well, at least you know a lot about dragons, right? Receiving no reply from his master, the Phantom turned to look and saw Isaac trembling, biting his nails, his face dripping with sweat. The Phantom gasped in surprise. Huh? What is it now? Meanwhile, Isaac panicked. Well, I'm screwed. A dragon's danger level is on a whole different playing field. A long moment later, the Phantom heard Isaac speak up. Well, I might have scammed them a few times. The Phantom asked. Specifically, how many of them? Isaac recalled the fury of the dragons he had tricked. Did that bastard even scam a young dragon? What on earth did he sell to those kids? He's not even 3 years old yet. If an ancient dragon got scammed, let alone a young dragon, damn that piece of shit skeleton. Isaac stammered, just around 70 of them. Suddenly, Isaac remembered something terrible. Oh no, on top of that, those beasts have incredible memories. They're going to recognize my soul. The Phantom gave his master a sly grin. Maybe it's time for me to find a new boss. Isaac gritted his teeth and glared back at him in rage. I can hear you, you know? Isaac slammed his chubby little hands onto the crib. Filled with sheer determination, he thought, looks like I have no choice left. So, there are level 8 demons and a level 9 dragon in the relic archive. But with my current body, I can barely handle level 6 demons. To fight them, I'll have to steal all the mana cores from the Joshua family. Looking at the Phantom's completely helpless face, Isaac said excitedly, let's head to the annex. As a new day began, the first rays of sunlight warmed the grand, magnificent palace. In a certain room, little Isaac sat behind the door, buried in a book. The Phantom beside him asked hesitantly, Master, are you all right? Getting no response from his master, it asked once more, Master, are you really okay? Isaac kept his eyes glued to the book, his face pale as he stammered, yeah. He had thought that once he mastered holy power, learning these 3 spells would be a piece of cake. Why is this getting more and more frustrating? Since I haven't even been weaned yet, all I have to do is manipulate his mind and make him teach me. The Phantom squealed with joy. Master, are you planning to use black magic right under the priests' noses? You're going to bring down this entire house and then summon some badass demons, aren't you? Isaac crawled across the floor, squinting at him. What on earth happened to your personality over the last 150 years? The Phantom let out an awkward laugh. Exhausted, Isaac rubbed his eyes as he looked at the book, thinking to himself, I can't grasp all this theory on my own. Little Isaac let out a tired yawn, and suddenly, a hand snatched him up. You look exhausted. Relai and the Blue Knight commander walked in. Relai scooped him up, cradling him in his arms as he said warmly, I bet you've had a very busy day. Isaac grumbled inwardly. No kidding. Babies my age need 16 hours of sleep a day to function. While Relai was placing Isaac back in his crib, the commander picked up the book, looking completely baffled. Setting Isaac down, Relai opened his palm in front of the boy, murmuring a restoration spell. A warm golden light enveloped Isaac. Oh, that's a neat spell. Go on, cast another one. The uncle coaxed, seeing that Isaac wasn't chanting any more spells. The moment Relai turned to speak to the commander, Isaac scrambled to climb out of his crib. Seeing this, the Cloud immediately tried to stop him, pleading, please, just stay put. The Cloud continued, you need to get to the annex as soon as possible. You can't keep it hidden here forever, right? Isaac suddenly remembered. Right, the annex. He had to get rid of these people as quickly as possible. Noticing how quiet it had gotten behind them, Relai and the commander quickly turned around to check. Seeing Isaac face down in his crib, pretending to sleep, the Cloud silently scoffed. Terrible acting. Cradling the spellbook in his arms, the commander smiled and said, Lord Isaac fell asleep so fast. Relai agreed, praising him. What an amazing child. He does everything so quickly. Hearing that, the Cloud could only scream internally. Are you people out of your minds? Seeing that Isaac was fast asleep, Relai spoke up. It's getting late. Shall we head out? The commander agreed. Yes, sir. Besides, I should head to training anyway. The Cloud was utterly baffled by this, thinking, unbelievable. Seeing that they were finally leaving, Isaac smirked triumphantly from his crib, but then he heard them add. Though, that totem looks pretty dangerous. I think we should take it with us. Isaac immediately panicked. Before stepping out the door, Relai turned back to instruct the commander. It is a precious item, the very first totem that belongs to Isaac. Make sure it stays safe. The commander quickly replied, Yes, sir. Hearing this, Isaac protested in his mind. Hey, I still need to restore it. Who said you could just take it? Before they finally walked out, he still heard them say, We'll display it in the most prominent spot. He could only cry internally. His precious totem, he hadn't even had the chance to drain its mana yet. The moment the door clicked shut, Isaac bolted upright. Fine then, I'll just go drain the entire mana core in the annex instead. He quickly used his tiny stubby body to scramble out of the crib. The cloud weakly asked, Are you seriously planning to crawl all the way to the annex? Isaac replied, I have my ways. Just open the door for me. The cloud immediately flew toward the door. Yes, of course, right away. But as it floated over, it muttered under its breath, There is no way on earth I am carrying you there. But the moment it reached the door, the cloud froze. Wait, what? Behind it, Isaac had just tumbled out of the crib, landing flat on his back with his limbs flailing. Before he could even feel the pain, the cloud said, That uncle of yours locked the door from the outside. The locking mechanism is out there, and he even cast a warding spell on it. Isaac was so furious he could spit blood. That annoying, wretched uncle, break the door down. But thinking of the guards outside, the cloud warned, If we do that, they'll think you're under attack and swarm this room. Isaac cursed, Damn it. He slammed his tiny hand against the door in frustration. This is driving me insane. I won't be able to handle the rumors if I get caught, and if I use my magic, it'll only make things worse. Suddenly, the door creaked. Isaac, who was standing right there trying to figure out how to escape, got smacked right in the face by the opening door. A boy about 5 or 6 years old pushed the door open and walked in. Holding a bandaged prosthetic arm in his hand, he stared intently down at Isaac, who was splayed out on the floor. He gasped in surprise. Wait, this brat can't even walk yet. The boy who had just walked in was 5-year-old Shuri Eshua, the son of Goel Eshua, and a candidate for the holy priesthood of the Eshua family. Isaac quickly rubbed his nose, staring warily at the kid. Shuri glared back, thinking bitterly, This brat is definitely my enemy. Looking at the totem, Shuri thought to himself, A totem that even a genius like me couldn't create. He gripped his toy tightly. There was absolutely no way this little pipsqueak made that. Opening his palm, a ring of golden light suddenly flickered to life. Isaac watched with growing excitement. Shuri raised his hand, a malicious look in his eyes, as he muttered, I'm the only one who deserves to be sainted. Isaac played innocent and crawled toward his feet, but out of the corner of his eye, he saw the boy casting a spell on a nearby toy. Shuri muttered, How dare you try to steal what belongs to me? Isaac thought to himself, Perfect. This is exactly how I'll deal with this arrogant Eshua brat. But suddenly, Shuri let out a sharp cry as the toy slammed right into his own head. Isaac giggled with glee, thinking, Looks like I just found myself a new horse to ride. Shuri's face flushed with anger. Do you have any idea who I am? Since babies can't talk, Isaac could only reply in his head, Well, you look exactly like that thug of an uncle, so you must be his son. With a smug grin, Isaac snatched the toy away. I saw you trying to channel your mana to attack me, you little jerk. Isaac repeatedly whacked Shuri with the toy. Take that, serves you right. Hovering nearby, the cloud cheered him on. Great hit, master. Isaac smirked as he kept hitting him. You smug little brat. Get ready to be my personal ride. Unable to fight back, Shuri could only take the beating until he finally unleashed his holy power to block the blows. Do you honestly think you're better than me? Isaac rubbed his chin with a mock-surprised expression. Shuri scoffed triumphantly. What are you so shocked about? No one my age can use level 3 holy defense. He sneered while channeling his energy. It's a bit too early to be shocked. Isaac just watched him silently as he gathered his holy power. Level 3 holy light attack. Bright rings of white light materialized in the air. Take this. Isaac's jaw dropped in mock amazement at the holy magic before him. Wow, how impressive. Then, a sly smirk spread across his face. Thanks for the meal. What happened next absolutely terrified Shuri. All he could see was a crescent purple ring of light. A massive surge of mana swirls around Isaac. Shuri's eyes widen in sheer panic as he stares at the baby. How on earth did a simple defense spell get amplified this much? Shuri thinks to himself, watching Isaac casually toy with the magic. How do you even know how to use that when nobody's ever taught you? Isaac babbles, looking as if he's saying, "Thanks for the lesson, pal." Suri whips his head around in disbelief. "No way." He freezes as he sees Isaac giggling, pointing a finger right at him. Seeing the spell fly right back at him, Suri stammers out a scream. "Wait, hold on." Meanwhile, Isaac just sits there, watching him with a smug grin. The Phantom mutters, "The entire Eshua family must be completely out of their minds, putting a dragon in a place full of newborns like this." He continues, "But Master, at least you have an incredibly deep understanding of dragons." Suddenly, a panicked Isaac bites the Phantom's hand, prompting him to ask, "What's wrong now, Master?" At that moment, Isaac curses to himself, "Ah, damn it. Come to think of it, dragons really are dangerous. I scammed them for a pretty long time." The Phantom asks, "Just how much did you scam them, Master?" "That absolute bastard scammed all the baby dragons. What on earth did you even sell to those kids? They weren't even 300 years old, and even a bunch of adult dragons got ripped off too. You bony bastard, what about 70 of them?" Isaac worries. "This is bad. Those guys hold grudges forever. They're going to recognize my soul." The Phantom replies, "Well, isn't this the perfect chance for me to switch places with you, Master?" Isaac snaps back, "I can hear you, you know." Then, Isaac slaps his hand down. There is no other way. A second later, Suri freezes in terror as he sees Isaac sitting on the shoulder of a towering, monstrous phantom. Staring at him with blood-red eyes, Isaac babbles, "What are you just standing there for?" He flashes a thrilling, excited grin. "Hey, kid, get over here and carry me, fast." Suri lets Isaac tightly grab his hair, too terrified to do anything but watch the Phantom's every move. Even so, he still holds onto Isaac's legs tightly so the baby won't fall. He thinks in panic. Right, let's just focus on getting out of here alive first. Isaac alternates between enjoying his ride on Suri's shoulders and pulling his hair into a tangled mess, while Suri's body trembles uncontrollably. Helplessly carrying Isaac while utterly terrified, he whimpers in a trembling voice, "Somebody, please save me." Under the pitch-black night lit only by the bright moon above, Isaac's constant baby babbling echoes through the silent garden. With one hand gripping Suri's hair and the other pointing with his toy, Isaac's tiny mouth keeps barking orders. Left, go left. Carrying Isaac on his back, Suri takes heavy, exhausted steps to follow his orders, eventually stopping to catch his breath. Isaac frowns in annoyance and snaps, "You wanna die? Get a grip." Suri sluggishly questions him, "Where on earth are you trying to go in the middle of the night anyway?" Suddenly, he takes a step back. Looking up in horror at what lies ahead, he gasps, "This is..." Drenched in sweat, he stammers out in fear, "It's the second annex of the Eshua family, the haunted house." While Isaac is lost in thought, and the spectator Phantom snickers mockingly, Suri panics, "Why did this psycho drag me here of all places? So many people died here that the family head strictly forbade anyone from entering." Suddenly, both Isaac and the spectator Phantom get super excited. The spectator Phantom giggles and whispers, "Looks like there are dozens of them in there." Staring at the glowing light scattered throughout the house, he says, "You would have had to risk your life training for decades to gather this much mana, Master." Isaac waves his toy, gesturing for Suri to head inside while thinking, "Let's go, kiddo." Realizing what he wants, Suri cries out in panic, "You want to go inside?" "No, we can't go in there. The adults strictly warned us not to." Before he can even finish his sentence, the Phantom suddenly gets right in his face and threatens, "Shut up and move." Inside, the faint moonlight creeps through the dusty glass windows. With Isaac on his shoulders, Suri cautiously takes one quiet step at a time. Isaac rests his hands on Suri's head, slowly scanning the room before commenting, "The inside is way worse than I thought." Suddenly, his eyes flash as he spots a nearby door. He thinks to himself, "Huh? Wait a minute." Right then, the spectator Phantom pops up again and says, "The entire building has been sealed, Master. Every single door here is protected by some kind of barrier." Hearing this, Isaac flops onto Suri's head in disappointment, groaning, "What a pain." Still terrified, Suri urges him, "Hey, let's go back. Everything in here is locked anyway." Isaac suddenly yanks his hair to the left with a loud grunt, making Suri scream in pain. "Ow, what's wrong with you?" He tries to pry Isaac's hands off, yelling, "Let go." But as he looks in the direction Isaac is pointing, he gasps, "Huh?" The moonlight streams through the window, shining on dusty, solemn portraits hanging along the old wall. He looks up and mutters, "The previous family heads." Staring at the portraits, Suri mocks the baby. "Don't tell me you're aiming to be the family head too?" he grins confidently, saying, "Well, it's useless anyway. The next head of the family is going to be me." Completely ignoring him, Isaac holds up his toy, a dangerous, calculating look crossing his face. With a sudden, violent swing, he throws his toy straight at one of the portraits on the wall. Suri stares in absolute horror as the glass shatters into pieces. But Isaac doesn't stop there. He keeps swinging and hurling his toy again and again. Watching all the remaining picture frames shatter, Suri pulled his hair out in frustration, desperately trying to stop him. "Our great ancestor, are you out of your mind? What are you doing to the family heads?" Once he was done, he held his toy, smirked coolly, and said, "Right. Why on earth would anyone put a barrier on portraits anyway?" The ghost of the observer materialized once again, joyfully announcing, "The barrier has been shattered, master." Isaac grinned mischievously and thought, "Excellent." With that, he leaped off Suri's back and said, "Let's go." Suri panicked and quickly barked, "Hey, where do you think you're going?" Landing safely on the ground, Isaac rolled several times toward another spot as the observer ghost hovered above, leaving a furious Suri behind, shouting, "Hey, are you crazy? Where are you going after making such a huge mess?" Rolling right in front of a room, he forced the door wide open. Seeing the shimmering mana inside, he gasped in pure excitement. "Magnificent!" Suri dashed toward Isaac at full speed, but the boy simply whispered a command to lock the door. As the door began to swing shut, Suri tried to run even faster, desperately screaming, "Hey, stop, stop, what do you think you're doing?" Just before the door slammed shut, Isaac turned around with a mocking smirk, thinking, "A mere child like you has no need to know." Completely ignoring Suri, who was still yelling outside, "Hey, kid!" Once the door closed, Isaac sat upright, placed his hands on his lap, and let out a sigh of relief. Gathering his magical power, he whispered, "Let's begin." Outside, Suri pounded on the door with all his might, shouting threats. "Get out here right now. I'm telling the adults everything." He kept slamming his fists and screaming, "I'll tell them everything and get you kicked out of here," completely unaware of a figure standing in the shadows behind him. Joshua, arriving with a group of people, called out sternly, "Suri." Hearing that familiar voice, the boy froze in his tracks. Suri slowly turned around in a daze as Joshua demanded, "What are you doing here?" Overjoyed to see him, the boy gasped, "Uncle, you came at the perfect time. Isaac, that little monster." Before he could even finish, the elder snapped, "What on earth do you think you're doing, Suri? No matter the reason, you know very well that the annex is strictly off limits. What were you thinking bringing him here?" Suri froze, letting out a weak, confused chuckle. "Huh? Do you have any idea how many people saw you carrying Isaac here on your back?" She continued. "Furthermore, there are traces of offensive holy magic in Isaac's bedroom. You are solely responsible for all of this, understand?" Terrified, Suri stammered in protest, "No. I mean, yes, I brought him here, and some of the holy magic was mine." But Joshua placed a heavy hand on his shoulder and said in a deep, stern voice, "Suri, you have crossed the line this time. No matter the excuse, you just harassed a toddler who hasn't even been weaned yet." His expression hardened as he demanded, "Where did you lock Isaac up?" Panicking, Suri quickly squealed, "I didn't lock him up anywhere." His words left everyone in shock. Isaac went in there on his own. Joshua quickly stepped forward, approaching the door. "Isaac? Are you in there?" Touching the handle, he gasped, "It's locked? Good heavens." Suddenly, the door creaked open, revealing a pitch-black room. Seeing Isaac sobbing inside, Joshua cried out in heartbreak, "Isaac!" The elder rushed forward, asking anxiously, "Are you all right, Isaac?" Oh dear, the poor child looks absolutely terrified. Meanwhile, Suri stood there completely flabbergasted, his face twisted in disbelief. Pulling the weeping toddler into his arms, Joshua whispered, "Thank goodness you're safe." He seemed frightened, but fortunately, he was unharmed. Joshua glared at Suri with cold, sharp eyes. As he turned to leave, he threw a final warning over his shoulder. "Suri, you should be deeply ashamed of yourself." Tears began to stream down Suri's face. "No, that's not what happened. Really, Suri pleaded helplessly. Just then, Isaac whispered a voice meant only for Suri's ears, "Thanks a bunch." With a cruel, bright smile, he added, "Thanks to you, I had a delicious meal." Seeing this, Suri lost his mind and screamed in rage, "That little bastard!" Confused by his outburst, the elder blinked, "Suri?" Meanwhile, the surrounding attendants looked at Isaac, whispering, "Why does the boy look so burning hot? Isn't it because it's freezing in here?" One of them sighed, To think a child so small has to. Feeling the condensed mana in his pocket, Isaac smirked to himself. The harvest is even better than I expected. In a single go, I absorbed enough mana to equal 100 years of grueling cultivation. Clenching his fist, he thought, yes, with this much power, and let out a silent, wicked grin. Noticing his strange trembling, Joshua thought to himself, it seems Isaac was truly terrified. Inside a majestic castle, someone turned to Isaac and said, Isaac, there is someone I'd like you to meet. Isaac looked up with an expression of sheer boredom. Joshua then introduced the boy's new assistant. This is Asili. From this day on, she will be your personal assistant. Placing a hand respectfully over her heart, Asili introduced herself. My name is Asili, a holy knight of the Joshua family. Dropping to one knee, she bowed her head in a display of absolute loyalty and declared, I shall serve you until my final breath. Isaac looked away in total indifference, but a sharp thought crossed his mind. They had just sent someone to keep him under close surveillance. Is this about what happened last time? He looked completely disgusted. Propping himself up with one hand, he pointed at Asili and snapped, Hey, you there! Isaac kept shouting to scare her, yelling, Get out of my sight. Asili just stared at him blankly, then took a step closer to Isaac. Then, Asili bent down, blushing furiously. Her hands shook as she reached out and said, Please let me pinch your cheeks just once. Isaac stared at her blushing face in utter confusion, thinking to himself, Why are there so many crazy people in this house? Joshua smiled, pulling something out and holding it toward Isaac. Ah, Isaac, he said, opening a small box to reveal a ring inside, then handing it to the boy. This is a gift from your uncle. Isaac stared at the plain, ordinary ring in his hand, his face darkening as he thought, Did he pick this thing up out of the trash? I thought I had misheard, but even the ghost nearby stared at the ring and scoffed. It seems the Eshua family really is in a crisis. How could he call a piece of junk like this a worthy gift for my master's first birthday? As soon as Asili saw the ring, she lunged forward, staring at it in utter shock. Unbelievable, she gasped. Oh my goodness, isn't this the Saintess's family heirloom? Joshua stood beside him, gently patting his head with a warm smile. That's right, it is the Saintess's heirloom. Your uncle managed to get it from the council just for you. Isaac's eyes widened in surprise as he thought, Huh, it's the real deal. An image of the Saintess flashed in his mind, her ring finger glowing. This was the exact ring the Saintess used when she fought against me, an ancient ring, holding a fragment of holy magic. As the ring glowed, he held the shimmering band and examined it. The holy power inside this is actually insane. Isaac looked at the ring with a sly smirk, thinking, It looks like it might break after only 1 or 2 uses, but I have my ways of fixing it. He suddenly looked up at someone. Over there, Goel was leaning against a tree, glaring at him with pure envy. Isaac looked right back at him as he stared. Looking at that furious, jealous face, his expression practically guaranteed that this was the real deal. He glared at his own baby nephew as if he wanted to wipe me off the face of the earth. Goel walked over to where everyone was standing. Isaac watched him in confusion as Goel called out, My sweet little nephew, Isaac. Approaching with a fake, cheerful smile, he said, Oh, you are just adorable. Goel put on a fake act, while Isaac and the ghost watched him put on a show in utter disbelief. I hope you find yourself comfortable here. Hearing those words made Isaac cringe. Ugh, what a load of fake garbage. Disgusting. Staring at his overly friendly face, Isaac thought, this guy has seriously lost his mind. Damn it, this is getting way too complicated. Goel stared at the ring and thought, I specifically sabotaged the blessing device in the relic treasury, so it couldn't receive a blessing. But I never expected them to bring out the Saintess's heirloom as a replacement instead. In a flashback to the past, the elder handed the ring to Joshua and said, Since Isaac didn't receive a blessing, we have no choice but to give him this. When Goel saw the ring, he gasped, The Saintess's heirloom. He yelled at the elder, You should give that to my child instead. The elder asked back, Give it to Shuri? She sighed deeply and waved her hand, gesturing for him to leave. Hasn't Shuri already received a blessing from the Holy Temple? Don't be greedy. Run along now. Goel gritted his teeth in fury, thinking back to his original plan. I was going to fake a donation to the Holy Temple just to get my hands on it. A mere brat like him could never understand the true value of that heirloom. He spoke up. If you're going to choose a gift, you should at least pick something decent. That thing is completely useless. Hearing this, Joshua immediately snapped back. Useless? Brother, how could you speak of the Saintess's relic like that? Goel smirked, holding a box in his hand. Isaac is my precious nephew too, so how could you give him something so useless? He pulled out a ring that sparkled even brighter than the Saintess's, saying enticingly, this ring received a direct blessing from the holy temple itself. He babbled on and on about how powerful the ring was, while Joshua stood nearby, staring at him in confusion. This is definitely more useful than anything in the relic treasury. It is an incredibly precious item that a kid like Isaac could never dream of getting. He knelt down close to Isaac, holding out the sparkling ring and tempting him further. What do you think, kid? Pretty amazing, right? Reaching his hand out to snatch the Saintess's ring, he said, now, hand over that dirty old ring to me. In an instant, Isaac threw a solid punch right into his face. Get lost. Snatching the ring box, he spat. Doesn't this piece of trash reek of the Pope's disgusting stench? Then, Isaac hurled the ring away. Take your trash and get lost. The ring flew through the air and splashed right into the lake. Goel freaked out when he saw the ring get tossed, screaming, what do you think you're doing? Go find that ring, right now. Joshua looked at Isaac and thought to himself, that ring is worth 1,000 times more than the one I gave the kid. He watched Isaac hold up his hand with the Saintess's ring and smiled warmly. Yet you still chose my gift over that? Joshua reached out to him, crying, Isaac, my beloved nephew. Brimming with excitement, he threw both hands into the air and laughed. From now on, I will give you only the very best. Asili stood right beside him and copied him, throwing her hands in the air and cheering happily. Hooray for young Master Isaac. Meanwhile, the guards had to desperately dive underwater to search for the discarded ring. It's too deep, young master. Goel stood there with a dark expression, ordering his men to search at all costs, even if it meant risking their lives. He happily crossed his arms, thinking, I did it. I already cast weight magic on it, so they'll never find it. The ghost by his side couldn't help but flatter him, saying, as expected of my master, your absolute determination to never touch that smelly item is truly admirable. But right after, Isaac casually ordered the ghost, go pick it up tomorrow morning. The ghost gasped in surprise. Me? To which Isaac arrogantly shot back, who else? Me? Isaac recalled how Goel Eshua was clutching his head and screaming, making him absolutely certain the item was extremely valuable. He turned to the ghost and said, that thing is worth a fortune. I'm going to sell it. Goel slammed his fist onto the table, yelling, that little brat. Slumping over the desk with clenched fists, he muttered in pure rage. He has absolutely no idea how valuable that ring is. He then sank back into his chair, utterly defeated, and sighed, whatever. More importantly, that brat doesn't know the first thing about using an ancient ring anyway. Goel kept rambling on to comfort himself. That relic can only be used by someone who is completely incapable of casting holy magic. It requires absorbing the holy power of at least 20 people just to activate it, which is practically impossible. He let out a sinister laugh. I highly doubt even 10 people will show up for his birthday. But the very next day, back at that luxurious mansion, the place was absolutely packed with bustling crowds of both adults and children. Asili looked at the bustling scene in front of her and excitedly exclaimed, this is amazing. There are over 148 Saintess candidates here. Between the nobles and their servants, we have about 4,000 people attending today. Cradling Isaac in her arms, she happily told Eshua, every single ducal house has arrived, along with dozens of Marquis families. Even other nations have sent their own Saintess candidates. It's truly spectacular. Even the emperor himself is in attendance. Isaac's face darkened as he thought, why on earth are there so many Saintess candidates? Did those lazy gods just scatter them everywhere like confetti? The ghost beside him chimed in mockingly, yeah, that definitely sounds like something they would do. With a dead serious expression on his face, Eshua was deeply lost in thought before murmuring, I never anticipated this. I honestly thought no one would show up. But now, I'm starting to think this is a trap. Suddenly, someone pushed the door open and walked in, saying, of course they don't think it's a trap, my friend. Simon cheerfully strode toward them and called out, long time no see, Rhine. He was the leader of one of the 3 major merchant associations in the empire and Rhine's closest friend. Rhine stared at Count Simon in shock and asked, Simon, you came too? Simon burst into laughter and replied, well, the rumors have already spread across the entire empire. Simon cheerfully added, so of course I had to come. Hearing his words, both Rhine and Asili furrowed their brows. Everyone knows this isn't a trap, which is why they all decided to join. Besides, Even the fragile boys of the Eshua family are all gathered here. He kept rambling on, saying, not to mention what the head of the Eshua family put on the line. How could I possibly miss out on that? Even the Pope's family is bound to show up. Hearing Simon's words, Isaac wondered to himself, wait, what exactly did she bet? Ryan couldn't believe what he was hearing and shot back. Stop joking around. There is no way the Pope's family would ever attend this. Simon just casually shrugged and replied, just a guess. There's no way those cold, stuck-up royals would ever show their faces in Eshua territory anyway. They absolutely despise this place because of all the commoners, with the sole exception of the Barris family. Suddenly, a dark silhouette appeared at the doorway of the room where everyone was chatting, whispering, Simon, keep your voice down. To which Simon replied, why should I? My son, Armin, is a Saintess candidate too. Besides, this event is being hosted by the Eshua family anyway, so the Pope's family has absolutely no reason to meddle in this. The mysterious figure grabbed the doorknob and warned, you seriously need to watch your mouth. While Simon was still talking, the door swung open and someone stepped inside. Everyone turned toward the doorway in a panic. Ignore those people, Simon scoffed. Their faces always look like they just stepped on crap. The elders always said there's nothing more dangerous than a vulgar friend. And right on cue, Cardinal Barris pushed the door open and stepped in. It turns out the wisdom of the ancients was spot on. Both Ryan and Simon froze in sheer terror. Cardinal Barris, with a sinister look on his face, Barris walked right up to them and sneered, just look at this. The weakling of the Eshua family actually hosting an event like this. I truly hope your child can bring something out from the Holy Relic Vault, if only to save whatever face your family has left. He let out a wicked laugh and added, I'm highly curious to see just what kind of Saintess candidate this Eshua child claims to be. Hearing his venomous words, Asili warily pulled Isaac closer into her chest, shielding him even though they hadn't even officially met yet. He then smirked and said, well, at the very least, this is a golden opportunity for you. Barris placed his hand over his heart, but his deceitful expression and the dark, gloomy aura radiating from him completely contradicted his words. I sincerely pray that your saint candidate can bring some honor to your family's name. Ryan broke out into a cold sweat, thinking to himself, this is nothing but a trap set up by the Holy See. The number of black-robed figures is growing by the day. It's incredibly suspicious that the number of Saintess candidates jumped from 25 to 148 in just a single week. The only explanation is that the Holy See is turning a blind eye to these mysterious saint candidates appearing out of nowhere, leaving a trail of blood in their wake. Everyone is desperate to have their own child become a saint candidate. Once these children are sent into the Holy Relic Vault, they will inevitably try to eliminate the weakest competitors to survive. Ryan clenched his fists tightly, thinking, they might even target my boy in all that chaos. He turned his head to look back at Asili, who was holding Isaac. Feeling his tense gaze, both Asili and the baby looked back at their uncle with sheer confusion. Ryan worried that Isaac was in serious danger. As a child of the prestigious Eshua family symbolized by a stone statue of a baby cradled in a woman's arms, he was completely useless, despite his striking looks and his family's high reputation. But to those desperate to steal the superior genes of the Eshua family, or those seeking to curry favor with the Pope's household, and even those who despised the Saintess's lineage, that Eshua child was nothing more than the perfect prey. A mysterious cloaked figure stood before a child, whispering, let's mess with this Eshua brat a little. The child took the vial handed to him. It wouldn't kill him, but it would leave him completely paralyzed and helpless. Mix this drug into his water. It's a holy poison. Meanwhile, empty glass vials lay scattered all over the floor. Let's teach the kid just how cruel this world can be. The other young children watched, their faces turning pale with sheer terror. We'll turn him into a complete laughingstock. But there was the kid, sitting on the floor, chugging down the drink like there was no tomorrow. As the pile of empty glass bottles grew, it seemed to declare to the world that this Eshua child could never become a saint. But after chugging a massive amount, Isaac just wiped his mouth and smiled brightly. Wow, that was delicious. The other kids stood by, absolutely terrified. Oh my God, I'm so scared. How many bottles did he just drink? Isaac then chucked an empty bottle right at another kid's head, screaming for more. Bring me more. A weak poison like this can't kill me. Isaac threw a temper tantrum on the floor, kicking and screaming for another drink. The kid who just got hit on the head burst into tears, crying, I want to go home. This is too scary. Nearby, two schemers whispered to each other. What is wrong with that kid? I thought you spiked it with laxatives. Did you grab the wrong bottle? The crowd started whispering, "Oh, this is so weird, let's just get out of here." Hearing the chatter, Shuri Eshua could only facepalm, cursing Isaac in his head. Why does he keep chugging the spiked bottles? Shuri muttered internally, dying of embarrassment. Sigh. What an embarrassment. Stop dragging the Eshua family name through the mud. Someone finally walked up to Isaac, who was still happily drinking away. Annoyed, Shuri Eshua stormed over, snatched the bottle away, and snapped, "Stop drinking. Are you really that thirsty?" He handed another bottle to Isaac. "Here, if you want a drink so bad, take this instead." But before he could even finish, a bottle flew straight into his face. Isaac screamed, "But there's no poison in that one." When someone tried to take his bottle away, Isaac grabbed their pant leg, thrashing and screaming for it back. "Give it back! Give me the super toxin!" The poor guy stood there, completely helpless against Isaac's outrageous behavior. "Why is this kid so hyper?" As the man tried to explain, a woman nearby also jumped in to stop Isaac, warning, "You shouldn't drink this. It's a holy poison." "Are you out of your mind? He'll die if he drinks that." But Isaac just yelled back, "Holy poison." With a wild, crazed look in his eyes, Isaac suddenly lunged for the bottle. "Give it to me. You have to give it to me." While they fought over the bottle, onlookers began whispering about the holy poison. "It seems like he has an unbelievable resistance to poison. I heard some people can naturally neutralize toxins once they reach a certain level of holy power training." "What? Are you saying he has already reached that level? But why is he only targeting the poisoned bottles? Could he be doing it to make sure nobody else drinks them and gets hurt?" Overhearing the crowd's wild theories, Shuri Eshua just slumped in a corner with a tired smile, thinking, what a load of absolute nonsense. Suddenly, a voice spoke up, making Shuri look up in surprise. "Really now?" Kina Barit appeared out of nowhere, practically sparkling, right in front of Shuri. "Are you suggesting he is sacrificing himself?" Shuri jumped up in shock, staring at Kina. "Kina Barrett? Why on earth is he here? I didn't hear a single thing about the Pope's family participating in this." The direct descendant of the Pope's family, Kina Barit. The other children were also stunned to see him. "Wait, isn't that Kina Barrett? Why is someone from the Pope's family at the Saintess's treasury?" Meanwhile, Isaac had won his little battle. He grabbed the bottle and smugly sat on the other guy's back while chugging it. "Well, I guess we know who won that fight." "Oh ho." Kina eyed Isaac, thinking, "So this is the brat who's basically guaranteed to become the next saint? But how could a pure hair color like that exist outside the Barrett Pope's family?" Kina thought about the hair color of the Eshua clan. "Especially when everyone else in that family has hair that looks like literal garbage." Kina smirked and said, "Why is everyone so shocked to see someone from the Pope's family in the Saintess's treasury?" As Kina kept talking, his next words sent shockwaves through the person standing right beside him. "The Pope's family leads all of the clergy. Therefore, the Saintess's treasury naturally belongs to us as well." The moment those words left his mouth, a gasp went through the crowd. This only fueled Kina's ego, and he burst into a loud laugh. "I merely came to reclaim what is rightfully mine. Why on earth would you find that strange?" Even as he was drinking, Isaac shot Kina a look of pure disgust, thinking, "Look at this arrogant jerk. He definitely fits the mold of the Pope's family." A bright, radiant aura flared around Kina. But make no mistake, that kid is an absolute monster. His holy power alone already surpasses that of a bishop. He truly deserves his title as the #1 candidate to become the next saint. Isaac's train of thought was cut short as Kina's arrogant voice echoed again, "To resort to such cheap tricks just to humiliate the host, and you dare call yourselves candidates to be the saint?" Kina just wouldn't shut up. With a sneer, he said, "How pathetic. What is the point of picking on a baby?" Kina walked toward Isaac as he spoke, knowing a mere infant couldn't possibly have poison resistance. The boy dropped to one knee, stared at Isaac, and said, "He must be protected by the power of the saint." Looking at Kina, Isaac could only curse in his head, thinking his family must have a genetic curse of pure stupidity. Kina fake smiled, conjuring 2 tiny sparks of light in his hands. Walking toward Isaac, he said, "Poor little thing. Don't worry, let me cure that poison for you." Seeing Kina use magic, the bystanders started whispering, "Can he already use holy magic to cure poison? Look at the size of his holy power. That has to be at least level 5. Meanwhile, Isaac just stared at him, bored and utterly confused. "Oh, this brat is definitely trying to pull something," he thought. Watching Kina cast his spell, Isaac cursed in his head. "Are you seriously trying to use me to show off your skills? Pretty clever, I will give you that." But while wearing an innocent smile, Isaac swiftly smacked Kina right in the face. Keena's head whipped to the side from the slap. Suddenly, a boy pointed and yelled, his holy power vanished. Keena's eyes widened in sheer shock. He quickly let go of Isaac, unable to believe what had just happened. My holy power was dispelled? There is no way a mere baby could do that. Staring at his palm in utter disbelief, Keena thought in terror. Is this brat actually stronger than me? He glared, a faint, murderous aura slipping out as he clenched his fists, cursing silently. Those Eshua pests. Isaac gave a smug, provocative look and barked, What are you looking at, brat? Want me to smash this bottle over your head? As Isaac was threatening Keena, someone rushed over to grab him, pleading, No, don't do that. Wait, is he protecting him because they are family? He actually slapped the person trying to save him. How disrespectful. Keena looked at Isaac, deeply confused. Do they seriously think they stand a chance against the Pope's family? Does he really think he can protect that brat? Held back tightly by Suri, Isaac's face twisted in rage, but he could only curse in his mind. You absolute idiots. If it weren't for me, you would have already had a bottle shattered over your heads. Keena pretended he was perfectly fine, quickly making up an excuse to brush it off. It is fine. I probably just startled him. He is just a baby, after all. Turning around, Keena waved to everyone as he walked away, saying, See ya. Good luck, Eshua kids. At least try to scrape up some mud so you can save whatever face your family has left. Isaac gritted his teeth in rage as he watched Keena walk away, utterly helpless, since Suri was holding him so tightly he couldn't even budge. Suddenly, Keena stopped, turned back, and gave Isaac a smug, provocative look, saying, But of course, the greatest treasure here is going to be mine. After all, the Eshuas wouldn't even dare to go near the corpse of the Skeleton Demon King. Everyone stared at Keena, shocked to hear such arrogant words coming from a young boy. Hearing this, Suri sighed wearily and muttered, What a stubborn brat, he just has to cause a scene everywhere he goes. Suri was startled when Isaac suddenly grabbed his collar in a fit of rage, ready to fight. What is wrong with you all of a sudden? Suri and Ajax ended up in a chaotic tussle. Ajax explained. The family had promised to reward a secret technique to whoever brings back the corpse of the Skeleton Demon King. Hearing that, Isaac cursed in his head, Melissa, are you seriously playing around with my dead body? Hearing this, Isaac stood completely frozen in shock, suddenly trembling and collapsing to the ground, horrified, as he imagined his own skeleton wrapped in a red cloth with a bow on top like a present. Sitting among a bunch of other kids, Isaac played with the bottles, staring up at the sky in sheer boredom. Recalling his form as the Corpse King, Isaac thought, I have accumulated centuries worth of mana in that body. If I can just get my hands on it, reaching level 10 will be a piece of cake. His eyes flared with frustration as he glared at the children around him. But with all these brats keeping watch, there was absolutely no way to sneak it out. Crushing the bottle and tossing it aside, Isaac thought, whatever. Anyone who stands in my way will just get trampled. Suddenly, a voice rang out, catching his attention. Everyone, gather up! It was the elder, making an announcement. We are about to leave, so pay close attention to what I have to say from now on. He began to explain. This relic treasury is a sacred sanctuary that houses the relics of past saints. Isaac groaned internally. Ugh. He is starting with the history lessons again. We will never get to leave at this rate. Turning his head, he crawled away in another direction, muttering, So boring. Suri caught sight of Isaac moving away and whispered in surprise, Where are you going? Suddenly, a massive explosion went off, forcing Suri to shield his face as he shrieked in panic. Elder! Meanwhile, Isaac was dashing forward at an incredibly terrifying speed, thinking excitedly, Time to use the holy magic I just learned. The elder shrieked in terror. Isaac, no, that is a restricted area. He continued, sending a wave of panic through the other children. If you go that way, every single trap in the relic treasury will be triggered. Everyone chased after him, shouting, Stop that little brat. Meanwhile, at the Eshua family banquet hall, Asili said anxiously to Rilai, I hope the young master is going to be okay. Those in the banquet hall announced, We have established a connection to the inside of the relic treasury. They continued to report through the magic orb. The spirit beasts are following the third candidate. We can confirm that the door to the first relic vault has opened, and the candidates are now making their way inside. Rilai was worried. He thought to himself, Is he already inside? Just then, an announcement rang out. Currently in third place is candidate Peter Simon. A loud shout echoed, My son! But the announcement kept going. In second place, Suri Joshua. Gowl scratched his head in confusion. Wait, I meant, that's my son, the announcer continued, though they sounded a bit hesitant, as if they couldn't believe what they were reading. In first place, Ajax Joshua. Everyone gasped in unison, while Jai and Asili Isaac stood there in complete shock. While he kept rushing forward, voices cried out, "That's Isaac Joshua." Out of breath, the elder chased after him and pleaded, "Isaac, please, not there." Suddenly, he stepped on a trigger mechanism. An instant later, a bolt of lightning struck the elder, but he kept shouting, "If you go that way, more traps will trigger." Suri flinched, looked over, and gasped, "Mom, I'm sorry." As constant cries for help echoed, "Save me." Suri panicked and barked, "You lunatic. Why did you jump in there? You're the one causing this whole mess." Despite his terror, the young boy didn't forget to run away while screaming. Amidst the groans and screams, the archive trial was already proving to be life-threatening. Suri reached his hand out toward Isaac, as if trying to hold him back, and said, "And now we also have to dodge the traps set up for intruders." Approaching the door, Isaac said with excitement, "So this is the gateway to the second archive." Suddenly, an announcement popped up. The second trap has been triggered. Entering the side entrance of the second archive. The boy yelled in terror, "Ajax, don't go in there." A nearby phantom chuckled, seemingly praising him. "Truly extraordinary. Master, thanks to the mana you absorbed in the annex, I've leveled up." Isaac said eagerly, "Great, now I can work you even harder." The phantom grumbled helplessly. "Damn it," he immediately ordered. "Now, go grab all of them." The phantom quickly obeyed and flew off. "Right away, master." It rushed toward the kids resting nearby and overheard them saying, "I didn't expect it to be this hard." While one kid sighed in disbelief, another nearby boy stared in a certain direction, puzzled. "So this is why sages are so strong." Pointing at Suri floating in midair, he asked, "Wait, isn't that the Joshua kid?" Another boy replied, "Yeah, that's him." They asked each other in frustration, "How is he even flying? His family must have taught him beforehand. That is so unfair." Meanwhile, Suri thought to himself in despair, "No, you idiots. They didn't teach me anything." As it turned out, the phantom was actually holding on to him. Ignoring his panic of floating around helplessly, it brought Suri back and dropped him onto the ground. It reported, "Master, I've caught the messenger." After landing face first on the floor, the young boy warned him, "Stop this madness right now. I don't know how you got through the first trial of the Destiny Selection Archive, but from the second archive onward, a single mistake will get you killed." Suri kept rambling, "You have to face your fears and choose the hard path to grow stronger." Feeling annoyed, Isaac gave him a smack, thinking to himself, "You're too noisy." He then barked at the groaning Suri, "Whatever. Just explain what's inside the second archive." Still flat on the floor, Suri turned his face and said, "Once you enter the archive, you absolutely must not attack the enemies. Got it? Do not attack them." With a blank, confused look, Isaac questioned, "What kind of nonsense is that? Why can't I attack the enemies?" The boy continued to panic and warned, "That's the only way to get through the second archive. No matter what appears, you just have to stand still for 3 minutes until they disappear." Suri pleaded, "Just say you understand, or both of us are going to die." Isaac gave him a side-eye, thinking, how cliché. Is this some kind of test of my patience? Crawling up in fear, the kid added, "Seriously, people have actually died because of this."